We are live here tonight on American Zombie. Like, say what's up to everyone. Tonight, we're going to be talking about ancient technology because, with all of the research that I've done on human origins, ancient artifacts, ancient civilizations, it leads to something that says everything we see has been rebuilt. There's a common lie that says that what we see in the world today has been developed by modern man's ingenuity, the modern world, which, if we investigate it further and further, we see that that's not true. We see that there are cases of technology from a long time ago, thousands of years, if not more. One of them that I'd like to present, which is on the cover of the thumbnail, is the Lycurgus cup. Now, the Lycurgus cup, the amazing thing about this is that it has nanotechnology in it. Now, this goes back, they were saying, to Greece or Rome. I think it was found in Rome, but it has Greek and Greco-Roman architecture and stuff is very similar. This is a better picture right here, the one that I used on the thumbnail. Mr. Super Sidewinder, good to see you, man. Always, bro. I got the link pinned to the top of the chat if anybody wants to discuss these artifacts personally. But the Lycurgus cup, it has some really amazing attributes to it. It's you think about it and you say, wait a second, why is this could it have been from Rome, or was it taken from Greece and they found it in Rome? It's a 4th century Roman cup, contains tiny gold and silver nanoparticles embedded in the glass, and light interaction with it scatters. So depending on the angle, it can make the cup appear green when light hits it, reflected, and ruby red when light passes through it, when it's transmitted. So scientists replicate this today by creating arrays of billions of nano Lycurgus cups on a chip using gold and silver nanoparticles in nanowells. When we look at the fact that this is technology from over 1,000 years, over 1,500 years old, possibly a lot older, because you don't just create something like this on the fly. That's the thing about it. The Lycurgus cup actually had, from what some say, has the ability to detect poisons, which would make sense to make a cup like this. Now, some of people think that the king on the cup next to the vines could be Bacchus, because, Bacchus is the god of wine, of intoxication, looseness, like a bacchanal, an orgy, a drunken orgy from Rome. And I think there was also a Greek king that it relates to as well in the Iliad with Homer. So that makes me think it goes even older. Now, the biohazard screening, these nano sensors can detect pathogens or dangerous liquids. So it can detect disease or drug detection. So if somebody's trying, in their saliva, if they pour something in it and say they themselves are poisoned or they have some type of disease, it can analyze saliva or urine for disease markers, drugs, offering label-free, highly sensitive test. To think that this was created over 1,000 years ago makes you wonder, because the regular Orthodox take on it, the evolutionary religion take, is to say that no, everything runs in a forward motion and nothing back then could have been more advanced than it is today. And especially the technology we have today, oh no, that couldn't have come from before, because that throws a wrench in the theory, in the religion of evolution. So things like the Lycurgus cup and a few other artifacts. Let me see. This one here, okay, that's this one here. I already had it uploaded. So that shows you three different angles to show that, all right, it has different properties, but this shows you different amounts of the nanoparticles and how it can affect the way it looks. But this is just one of the artifacts, the Lycurgus cup from over 1,000 years ago. Another artifact is the Unitarch disc. Now, the Unitarch disc is something that was used by Vikings. Mr. X, good to see you, brother. Always, man. The Unitarch disc is a type of compass that Vikings used, and I think it was found on the island of Unitarch, and that's why it's named that. But when you look at the crystal, they say that they used to use a certain crystal that could detect the position of the sun, even though clouds were covering the sky. So if you couldn't see the sun, it could detect where it was at somehow. And there are some writings that talk about it being able to detect that position even up to, I think it's a little over an hour after sunset. It's an amazing piece of technology that you don't just have this once again. It doesn't just come up and, hey, you think of it. No, this has to be hundreds, if not thousands of years of technological test or trying to troubleshoot, does it work? Or it could have been given to them. The technology could have been told to them on how to make it, that this crystal, there's some ancient legend. So you're looking at ancient people getting ancient legends. The Unitarch disc is an amazing find from ancient Viking times. Then, of course, what was found off the island of Antikythera near Greece is the Antikythera device, which is seen to be a type of calculation machine similar to a computer. And it could calculate the position of stars, planets, and possibly other things as well. Researchers have used radar, X-rays, X-rays, yeah, not radar, but other techniques to look through and see the structure of the gears, and then they recreated it to say, look, this thing on the right, recreated, is much more in-depth than anybody thought it was. And it was found, and this is just one thing that was found off the coast of Antikythera. Imagine some of the other stuff in the Aegean Sea or the Mediterranean Sea or the bodies of water that weren't as deep as they are today. Off the coast of Egypt, there's many, many artifacts that they've shown underwater diving. And what do? Oh, you're not allowed to dive. You're not allowed to do that. So religion of evolution pushes this. The universities they build to push their religion. Part of protecting that, to keep people ignorant, is to make sure that nobody finds something that goes against it, which would be ancient technology, especially stuff like ancient nanotechnology, ancient crystal technology, and like we just saw with the Antikythera device, ancient technology that looks to be some type of computer. Oh, thanks, Mr. Superside One. Yeah, that's what the stream's about, man. To learn, man. This is the Antikythera mechanism. Anybody? Oh, this was the one. This one you know about. Okay, but the Unitarch disc, I noticed a lot of people don't know about. The Unitarch disc, spelled UUNARTOQ. So if anybody wants to look that up, the Unitarch disc is an amazing find. Now we have that with the Lycurgus cup. So these are the first two that I'm presenting to show people. Last time we did look at the pharaoh made from granodiorite. And this pharaoh, when you when you look at the back, when I took this picture, it looks like, I mean, what is this? It's like he's sitting on some type of charging device. It's not the replica of a human, as we've seen, that these things are just too exact. And the back, I mean, I wonder if this is the plug that goes into the charging device that charges an ancient android of sort. Now, we do have tales of that from Greece and other places. Egypt, we see that there was ancient depictions of what appear to be light bulbs, and not just one. There's several of these. I mean, the being right here in the front doesn't look human, even though it's kind of in humanoid form. You have, I mean, it looks like a transformer that's sitting underneath this thing. Very odd, to say the least. The Dendera light bulb. We know that the Oscars may have been based on the ancient Egyptian god called Ptah. Very similar, holding the sword in the same position. And Oscar, I think somebody had said it's the name for like the most obedient slave. That's what Oscar had stood for. Now in Egypt, with the Dendera light bulb, we also have the hieroglyphs at Abydos. And these are the famous ones. That one, looks like a flying saucer. Another one looks like not just a helicopter, but a cargo helicopter. So we see that. And what else in Egypt? Egypt shows us that they had advanced knowledge of the pineal gland. So the pineal gland, the image on the right is in the middle of the brain, and it looks like an eye. And oddly enough, the eye is said to be, the lens is said to be pointing upward. So on the top of a person's head. I don't know if this connects us with something more, or if it allows us like an all-seeing eye, but the pineal gland is something that is dealing with more than physical knowledge from what many ancient cultures talk about. Evolutionists will try to dismiss this away, but they can't, because you see that these people had an ancient knowledge. They even put mathematics in this, in the Eye of Ra or the Eye of Horus. So it's also called both of those. Now, in Greece, what appears to be an ancient stylus or a laptop or some type of writing device. It looks very close to a laptop, an ancient device for writing, which I took the liberty to put somebody sitting with a laptop to compare it, to just show how similar it is. And it's not just one depiction. There's many. There's carvings like on the bottom left. There's imprints onto vases, and there's other paintings and pictures of things like this. So it's not just a one thing, oh, it looks like that. No, these things are repeated. The Lycurgus cup is actually the only one found, I think, in a full piece. So that's why they were able to do a lot of tests on it and stuff like that. They had something that they thought was an ancient seismograph, and turned out to be that it is an ancient seismograph. They had a way of figuring out how, when the earth shakes, that it will drop one of these balls into the frog's mouth, letting them know the direction that it's coming from and the intensity of it. I mean, this is an amazing piece of technology where, when you look at something like this, it shows you that that's where the Western world has built upon and made the modern day seismograph. So this is something that that is just easily discerned. When you look at these things and you deduce what's going on, you see, like, yeah, our technology comes from something much older. China even had ancient drilling. This is a picture that somebody had, but they had different type of drill tips to drill for natural gas and other things. So again, not only was the seismograph, the ancient seismograph, built upon, but it seems that the oil wells, it wasn't like somebody just developed an oil well. No, this was taken from ancient technology. So we have oil wells from China, the Lycurgus cup from Rome, possibly Greece, because Rome did invade, came afterwards. Uh, the Unitark disc, the Norwegians, the Vikings had that. The Dendera light bulb, the Antikythera device, the Oscar, right? What appears to be flying vehicles in Abydos within hieroglyphs, knowledge of the pineal gland, and more. Now, I took this picture here in the Museum of Natural History on the right. Those don't look human. They look kind of what somebody would call a hybrid or something. I don't want to say the word because I mean, I can't even believe that has a censorship on it where they'll put a tag, but I'd rather stay within the guidelines of YouTube and just let people see the picture. Let the picture speak for itself. I think David Icke and other researchers have talked about these artifacts, which is shocking enough on its own. On the left were pictures I took in the Metropolitan Museum. So two different museums are showing something similar, which does not seem to be fully humanoid, basically. And that is the Ubaidian, I think they call it. They say it's from Mesopotamia, modern day Iraq. And the other ones on the left are from Central America, over 2,000 years old. It says Mexico, 3rd century BC to 4th century AD. So you're looking at a 700-year span, which again shows you how a lot of orthodox so-called science will just take guesses because they don't want to tell you it's too old, because then you'll start to question a little too much. So we have that, which is the Ubaid. Now there was a picture I took a picture of in the museum of what appeared to be like these Africans. Some of them have red hair, and they're carrying something in the back that looks like a little alien. Kind of reminds me of Kazoo from the Flintstones, if anybody remembers that cartoon. But again, maybe the cartoon The Flintstones got Kazoo from this painting, which is a few thousand years old. So that's another thing that you look at this and you start to say to yourself, what is going on over here? In Dendera, Egypt, they also have this on the ceiling at the temple, which looks like, again, an amphibious type of humanoid carrying two types of containers that might contain some type of potion. Is it an elixir, immortality? Is it knowledge? We don't know, but it's very odd that they would be spending the time to carve this on the ceiling of a temple about 4,000 years ago, which is possibly much older, because there has been recent studies that show that Dendera is a lot older. It was built on top an even older temple. So it kind of makes you wonder the fact that we have that there. Also in Dendera, they have a dog with 3 dogs on a chain. It shows what appears to be an ancient dog whistle. So ancient dog whistle is found in the hieroglyphs on the ceiling of Dendera, the Temple of Dendera, but also found in clay form in Mexico within artifacts there. So we have that as well. And on the bottom left is a picture by Simon Bisley, which he represents the 3-headed dog, Cerberus, stuff like that. Mr. X, bro, I appreciate it always, man. Always, bro. And Mr. Suicide, when I say it was Gazoo. Okay, Gazoo. That was the name, man. Definitely. So those are a few that I went through. The baptism, I think this is the baptism of Christ. Now, on the left is the painting by Gelder, 1710. On the right, I overlaid what's in the sky, which looks to be like a circular floating disc with 4 beams coming out of it, going downward to the ground. But in the middle of it appears to be like a white dove, which again is kind of, it's like, why? Why is that there? Mr. X, good to see you, man.
Hey, good to see you. Glad you're having another show. And luckily tonight I'm not working, so I can hang out for a little bit. But
Cool. Yeah, definitely, man.
I want to throw something in there and get your opinion on it, but I'll wait till.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Well, I think you've probably heard of this ancient nuclear reactor that was not ancient. I mean, but it was formed naturally. It's over in Africa. I just happened to look it up because I couldn't remember all the details. But over in Gabon, Africa, it operated naturally 2 billion years ago. It's a nuclear reactor with uranium and water flowing through it, ground. And it says here that it could power over 1,000 light bulbs. So, and we know the pyramids are built underneath the pyramids is a running stream of water. One has to wonder, was that a natural nuclear reactor, or was nuclear power being used by these ancient civilizations?
Yeah, it really does make you wonder. The one over there by Gabon in Africa
Hmm.
is I remember reading about that years ago with I think Michael Tellinger might have talked and touched upon it too, where the rocks that contain the uranium, they were saying contains like a high level of lead, showing that the uranium was already extracted from it. But
Mm.
it was even a higher technology because the waste, I think they were finding out, wasn't put into the water or the air like modern nuclear reactors. It's actually put into certain rocks. So it was a way to actually store the waste in like these bricks. I don't know if they were like contained metal in the rocks too, but it's been a while since I looked into it. So you had that, and that's how they realized it, because they were saying, okay, we have these rocks here with uranium. Okay, we could use it, but it was missing certain elements and it had high levels of lead, as if when from their experience today, when they mine uranium and they use it to extract it, they see that this is what the waste rocks look like. And
Mm.
then whatever type of reactor they had, instead of the waste going into water or air, it was put into somehow into certain like stone. So it gets very advanced. It makes you wonder. But then the other thing is, it's so far away from Egypt. Egypt is the northeast part of Africa. Gabon is the central west part. So you're
Yeah, I
looking,
see it
yeah,
here,
yeah.
Cameroon and everything. But I'm just saying, I mean, they found it there, but who knows if they're hiding it in other places? Like the technology was all through Africa, is all I'm saying. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because they're
Could
definitely
absolutely.
hiding stuff from us. That there's no. We're not getting the whole story about the pyramids or these ancient. They're hiding stuff for sure. For sure, they are.
Exactly. Yeah. For that, you're right. And that's actually a good catch there, because we would think that, oh, they're telling us it's in Gabon, but thinking, you thinking for yourself, you're seeing that, hey, wait a minute, this could have been found in many other places. They're just not revealing it.
Yeah.
And that's the way we need to be thinking, because they tell us the whole truth. And on top of that, they're gonna lie. They've been caught in so many lies. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's a very strong possibility that that could actually happen.
sure.
I
Like the
mean,
artifacts that you show, they're great, but imagine what's being hidden under the Smithsonian, locked away, or wherever. You know what I mean? Hidden from the public, the discoveries. It would probably
yeah.
blow it wide open and make it so easy to understand at that point. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. People would know for sure that there's been high tech ancient civilizations. And there's people like Graham Hancock and other researchers that go slowly but surely to try to put it out there in a very, very scientific way. They don't step on too many toes. I think Flint Dibble is an archaeologist that's extremely, like, this guy's like a little Fred Flintstone type of guy that just no, not even Fred. He's more like a Barney Rubble. And he was on Joe Rogan with Hancock, and he's still making videos trying to team up with the fake Professor Dave and trying to discredit Hancock when Hancock is just presenting evidence. It just shows you how afraid they are of the truth. I mean, when they look at something like this, they'll say, oh, no, that's not something in the sky. It's like, well, why did the painter put that there?
Yeah.
The watches, I took pictures in the museum. This looks like a wristwatch.
It does. It really does.
It just, I mean, and there's more than one. There's more than one. And when I started to do some research on this years ago, I realized that this watch, like the one on the top right, is actually, because I said, why would it have those type of flower petals?
Hmm.
But on the top right is a military watch. And I realized that that metal grid is put over it so the glass is more reinforced. So I'm like, wow, these guys have what appear to be not just a regular watch, but a military style watch on their wrist. And this is from Sumer.
Hmm.
And it's carved on alabaster, which we were talking about how certain hieroglyphs, they're made in a way where if you could see through the wall, they would match up with other hieroglyphs, and then it tells you a deeper story. So the fact that these are on alabaster, if you shine a flashlight on it, you get like a secret watermark that gets shown. So it's really like fascinating, like with the Christ picture of the baptism of Christ with something in the sky, right? There's
Hmm.
also another one by I think this is by Pascal, Mussolini di Pascal. It's called A Miracle of Snow. Now on the left got Christ and somebody else, a Christ-like figure, I guess. But I said this looks like a lead ship with a formation of ships behind it. And that's why I put the ships on the right to show the airships that could it possibly be something like that. I'm not sure, but it's always worth taking a look at. Some of the like the falcon of Nectanebo, when I looked at the wings of this, there's no way you're going to carve that with a chisel.
No, there's no way. It's so precise.
Yeah, I mean that has the signature of ancient machining on a very high level. When people try to say, like especially the evolutionists trying to say about the dinosaurs and stuff, well, there's a cylinder seal that has what appears to be a long-necked dinosaur. And I put a dinosaur on the top right as for comparison to the real cylinder seal on the top left. And when they roll it out on clay, it shows you on the bottom what it looks like, which looks to be some type of dinosaur. And again, it's not just one. Here's another one from Cambodia. People can go see this at the temple. It's a carving of, it's a Cambodian temple. I think it's called Te Pram, and it looks like a stegosaurus. It looks very similar.
Yeah.
So the timeline that evolutionists try to tell us seem to be very, very off. Seems to be very off. So, and again, like I said, it goes much deeper than just those two because the long neck type of sauropod, which I think they would call that a sauropod, and then you have the stegosaurus, and I think I had another one. I don't know if it let me upload it because I was reaching the limit on uploading. They had a triceratops as well. I don't think it uploaded that one. So the triceratops. So they have the stegosaurus, the triceratops, the 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 brontosaurus or diplodocus, which is the one with the long neck here. And wait, I think this is it. Yes, that's it. It's in India. It's a spout, and it's an ancient spout coming off a water thing, and it looks just like what a triceratops remaking would be. So, with three different types of dinosaurs that show this right there. Then there was and this one, like Praveen Mohan, the channel that you were telling me about, when I
Hmm.
had brought this up many years ago in a documentary I had made for Descendants of Atlantis. He, being a Hindu, he tried to dismiss it. But when I said that Ganesh could possibly be a prehistoric pilot of some sorts, and I presented this picture in the documentary to show like, hey, wait a second, this looks like Ganesh is on the left and a modern fighter pilot is on the right. And on the top of the forehead of the elephant headed deity looks like would appear to be goggles. Yes, the forehead bones of the elephant, definitely. But again, if primitive people or people that have never seen a pilot before would have depicted it they might put it like this. And I said to myself, I said, okay, you have the goggles. The middle part is the same area where the speaker is at on a modern pilot. The microphone on one end, and then the control knob on the other end when they try to say, oh, one of the tusks is broken. The hose looks very similar to the trunk. And then the hand signal, which is what all pilots give, the hand signal. Now, as I went further and found a photo of Paul, no, was it Paul King? I think Paul King, because you see the elephantine body, right? Look at Paul King's fight, and I think this is World War One. The suit he's wearing is very bulky, and it looks kind of, if somebody were to carve this, they might carve it as like an elephantine type of suit. So saying, look, I put the Ganesh statue on the right and Paul King on the left to show that. But then there's another pilot, and look at the similarity of the hose with the face mask next to the Ganesh statue. Could it be that they were seeing an ancient fighter pilot?
Well, the only thing I'd have a problem with is I don't think ancient. What's the term we just used about the people? Unsophisticated. I don't know. I forget the term.
Yeah. They might not have been unsophisticated. Yeah, I know.
To create these type of sculptures requires expertise. It requires knowledge. Primitive people. I don't think primitive people could have made these sculptures. You know what I'm saying? Because they're so precise. They're so well constructed. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I definitely see the similarities. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. I don't know if this was the sculptures themselves were an interpretation or some other higher level entities creating them to be worshipped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
I make that mistake myself a lot because we're so indoctrinated with thinking that they're primitive or something. But then when we look at the sculptures, we say, wait, that's a primitive type of sculpture, especially when I think this one, where's the one? This one, that sculpture on the left is, I think they're trying to say it's from like the 11th century, but Ganesh itself is over 9,000. Vedic deity, very similar to a modern day fighter pilot.
Sure.
And then there's one I think this is from Mexico, again, wearing a helmet, breathing out of it. This is one from China, a Ganesh statue. Now that one looks like a hose going to a canister. So just like on this one, the fire extension hose goes to a canister, an air tank. And on the left, Ganesha's usually connects to something like that as well. I found a picture from a temple. This is another picture of Ganesh, and it really looks like the goggles are in the up position on the head. Some people could say, oh, well, that's the elephant's forehead bones. But I mean, very similar, extremely similar when I look at it. This was from a museum. I took the pictures. This is a large sarcophagus, about 12 feet long. And it is, inside is hollow, but the walls are about a foot thick, 11 inches to be exact. I measured it. And it has carvings so delicate you can see the eye with the pupil in it, which is, I mean, this is like another level.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Jeez. I was looking another way, and yeah, I see it. I mean, there's so much detail in it. That's the thing. That it's like they're trying to send a message or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah. And I mean, this is all over. This is all type of, there's two different types of hieroglyph. There's a lesser type, and then there's this type, which is of a higher type of hieroglyph. So that we have that there. The painting from I think this is from Italy. I forgot the name of it. But
Sistine Chapel. The Sistine Chapel, right?
yeah, Michelangelo. I forgot the name. It shows that what they're saying, he's touching the finger of God to man.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had put an overlay and said, this looks very much like a brain or the mind.
Yeah.
So we have that. And let me see the other ones. We did show in this one yesterday how Roman and Greek sculptures seem to be more of a portrait of a person. Egyptian sculptures seem to be that's not of a person.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah. I mean, it's too exact when we look at it. Very exact when you think
The
about
eyes are so big. Look at those eyes. They're so big.
Yep.
And I wonder if that's some type of hybrid race, honestly, the way you see it. Even the pupils, they have the pupils in the sculpture, the pupils of the eyes.
I mean, part of me says there's a possibility, but when I think about the ancient robot theory,
Mm-hmm.
and also they called them automatons. I think robot is a term from like the 19th century. There was like a scientist or something that they might have named it after. But
I mean, the Bible does talk about the Nephilim, and they were about those the spirits, the angels coming down and giving birth to children with female women. I know I'm not trying to push the Bible, but is it a hybrid race of person? I don't know.
yeah, it's a possibility. I mean, I wonder, what if they weren't human in the fact that maybe they were mechanical?
That's possibly too. Yeah, I'm not discounting that at all. But either way, if they were mechanical, that still implies some type of advanced being.
Yes.
Can't exclude that. Some type of advanced intelligence going on.
Oh, yeah. And when people say that, oh, they wouldn't encode knowledge, well, we can see clearly that they encode knowledge in the churches. And the fact that the floor plan of certain cathedrals, hundreds of years old, if not older, can be used to make resonators and stuff, and to say, wait a second, this is technology encoded in the floor plan. And it's astonishing when I think about it.
Yes.
The light bulbs, the carvings. I mean, when we look at some of these carvings, it's undeniable. And then there was one that I had here with the magic mushrooms and the Jesus Christ figure. And on one of the stained glass windows, it showed 4 different types of mushrooms, which are all hallucinogenic. And I found a match in real life for each mushroom, showing that they have the psilocybin golden teacher mushroom. They have the fly agaric golden. They have the psychedelic blue mushroom. And then, of course, the top right has the Christmas mushroom, the Amanita muscaria. So that one is where they're saying the Christmas iconography comes from. Wow. With the red and white, Santa Claus wearing red and white. They grow under coniferous pine trees, where you wonder, why do we put presents under a tree?
I never knew that. Wow, that's amazing right there.
And the crazy thing is, what deepens the mystery is, in German, Donner and Blitzen are words for thunder and lightning. After thunder and lightning, the moisture makes these mushrooms. It gives the perfect environment for them to grow under coniferous pine trees like birch and pine and stuff like that. So now Why would they call the reindeer Donner and Blitzen?
Yes.
Right. So we have that now.
The red nose too. The red-nosed reindeer.
Now the red nose, when it snows and these mushrooms are covered by snow, deer will actually dig them up, and the first one to dig them up will get the red coloring on the nose.
Good
Head,
spot. Good
right?
spot.
Hence the lead reindeer, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
Mm.
And then the others would eat. Now you have the round man, the mushroom, with the red and white colors. It starts to bring the Christmas thing into like a real thought, to say, okay, if somebody were to eat one of these hallucinogenic mushrooms and look at a pine tree, they might see it shimmering.
Yeah.
Maybe even with lights appearing. Maybe that's why we decorate the tree. It's like a placebo effect.
Mm-hmm.
So we're putting fake presents under the tree instead of the actual mushrooms, which were the presents. And when you take these hallucinogenics,
Yeah.
if you're a bad person, or you've done, it makes you look inside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So like the song, if you've been naughty, you're going to get what you deserve. And if you've been nice, you can get what you deserve. So you look at the whole thing like that, like, wow, I've heard people talk about bad trips on mushrooms or hallucinogens.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder, maybe there was some, because it shows you something in you. And that's another thing that links to the mushroom Christmas tree, Santa Claus with the reindeer, the shamans of Scandinavia, Finland in particular, the Laplanders that live with the reindeer. That's their sustenance. And they say that the cold areas, they wouldn't come through the front door.
Mm-hmm.
They would come through a hatch on the roof. Could that be symbolizing how they say Santa Claus climbs down the chimney?
Yeah.
They take the mushrooms and they dry them in stockings by the fireplace.
Now, what's the name of that group again? I'm sorry, I missed that.
The Laplanders.
The Laplanders. Okay.
Of Finland.
Oh, and these are European people doing this.
Yeah, these are Finnish people.
Mm-hmm.
Other people of Russia have this. People, you can go, Scandinavia includes Sweden and Norway. Sweden, Norway, and Finland right next to each other. So now we have that to add into the mystery of the Christmas cult type of thing with the mushrooms. Then when John Allegro, Christ the fuck, good to see you, brother. Good morning, man, from across the pond. Yeah, so we have the Christmas ritual, I guess. Makes you wonder. I mean, when I think of the songs, he knows when you've been naughty, he knows when you've been nice. The mushroom, because I would say, who really knows that?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't tell anybody. But if this mushroom lets you see within, if these hallucinogens let you see within, it's all about you. So you would know. And the mushroom would know. And it would reward you either way. Letting you see something, like getting a lesson on why you shouldn't be bad, or letting you know you did the right thing by being good. So, I mean, it's just a theory. There was a guy that wrote a book about it, James Arthur, called Mushrooms and Mankind. I think he passed in 2005. And he was telling people that these are what he called teacher plants. They teach us certain things. And, research is really the key to seeing, like, okay, we want to know about our history. So when we look and we see things like light bulbs, what appear to be light bulbs. So not just a light bulb with a filament that looks like a snake, but also with a transformer underneath it, something that looks extremely similar.
And why are the people so small? The other people, there's large people, and you got they don't look like kids. They look like regular adults, but they're so much more tiny. What's that about? You know?
It makes me wonder, like how they say on some things there's invisible helpers,
Mm-hmm.
like the little helpers. Like, could it possibly, because Egyptians would do that? They would put arms, because notice it has on the top of the transformer going to the bulb, it has little arms holding the filament up, what would be considered a filament. In just a way, in a similar way, the way you have that little piece of glass that holds the filament up in an incandescent light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just too uncanny. I mean, lucid dreaming, that dude, good to see you. He says, what about lucid dreaming? Now, the Egyptians would use the lotus, the blue lotus. So they would be getting blasted off the blue lotus going into lucid dreaming states. And
They
I've
also
lucid dreamed, yeah, without that.
no, I
I
was
don't
just saying they all seem to use all these ancient religions. You seem to use these hallucinogens. My guess is that just to be able to communicate directly with the spirit verse. That's what I'm guessing.
That makes sense. That makes sense, man. There's definitely some type of communion with a higher power. When I did mushrooms in Amsterdam in the mushroom shops, it is one of the most beautiful feelings I've experienced.
Hmm.
The
I've heard
color,
that too from other people. I've
yeah.
heard.
I mean, a healing experience. It is just amazing. I have pictures. They had about 8 or 9 different types. They had the golden teachers, the Colombian teachers, the Amazonians, the Hawaiian Coplandias,
Mm-hmm.
the I think it was called Liberty Caps. It was a truffle type of mushroom from the UK. They call them Liberty Caps over there. Very mental type of trip with those, from what I heard.
You tried it like what, once or twice, or not that
I
often?
tried the mushrooms in Amsterdam about 3 or 4 times, about 4 times,
Mm-hmm.
and in the States probably another maybe 12 times.
Oh, okay, so quite a bit then.
So I've had some serious, you know, encounters with it.
Were
Many.
they all good, or did
They were all amazing.
all
I
amazing?
mean,
Okay.
beautiful, beautiful trips. I
Mm-hmm.
had a friend with me on a few of them. In Amsterdam, I took him alone. And then one time I met a guy, he was from America. He was in the Marines. He had came there. He was about to get shipped off to Iraq. And so he wanted to do the mushrooms. And I seen him. We met at like a cafe, the Bulldog Cafe, very um the devil's lettuce, man. That is a great. I've heard that before, Mehdi. Yes, and that's another spiritual plant, the devil's lettuce, cannabis, marijuana, or how they would call it.
See, I had a bad reaction with marijuana. I don't mess with it. It just doesn't mix well with me. I'm not judging anybody else who uses it. I'm just saying for me
Mhm.
personally, it doesn't mix. You know.
And it's not for everybody.
Hmm.
And the thing is you have to be very careful of where you get it. No, I haven't seen Fantastic Fungi 2019. I'll check it out if it's on YouTube. Wow, thanks. I mean, the mushroom, see, this is the thing. It lets you see into yourself. That's what I got from it.
Hmm.
I would, I actually saw other things. Like I saw what appeared to be a feminine type of goddess.
Really?
Like when I looked at the wall, I'm seeing these magnetic rays. And my
Mm.
friend across the table, he's just sitting there. And we didn't drink alcohol or anything. We wanted to document the trip. And I had a map, like a star map on the wall. And when I looked at the map, and he had a very short haircut, like extremely short. And I looked at his head, the map had transferred from the wall onto his head. So I could see the star map as if it was like if it was like plastic and it was wrapped over his head, the top of his head. So I realized at that point that it let me unlock the ability to be able to look at something like a copy and paste. And then when I was looking at the wall, everybody was quiet. I think it was four of us. And, I looked at the wall and I started seeing this feline type of like goddess figure. In Egyptian, they would call it Sekhmet. And Sekhmet is the feline headed goddess.
Oh, you saw that?
I saw that. Like it was about 2 feet, maybe 2.5 feet, 3 feet, and it was holographic, a purple type of holograph color with almost a pink type of magnetic rays coming out of it, out of the top connecting to the bottom. So it was oval. I'd say about 3 on each side, and it was amazing that I remember it clearly. And that was one, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Then another time with one of those friends, it was just the two of us, and he, I think, took a little too much. He wasn't as experienced. And really, you want to take a good bit to have a good trip, to really, to test yourself. It really is like a test. And Terrence McKenna used to talk about it all the time, that you want to take a heroic dose. And he got so high to the point where I had to call his girlfriend from Queens to come pick him up, because he had drove out and we were hanging out. And I go, look, you gotta pick him up. I said, come. We took him like around 10 at night, so we're gonna be tripping till about 4 in the morning. And she came out, and he said, when she came, first thing he told her was, I saw the natives. He goes, honey, I saw the natives. He goes, their faces were like blue holograms. And he didn't even tell me that until she came. And, I had to pull out like an air mattress, because he, and I was like, here, just take this, relax, call her up. We'll have her come out here, pick you up. Next day, he took the train out, picked up his car. But he wanted to go outside. And we went outside. Like, he had a telescope. I've looked at many planets and stars with the telescopes. And when we looked at the sky, we were very familiar with constellations. So I could look at the sky even today, be like, okay, that's Orion's belt. That's the 2 shoulder stars, Betelgeuse. If you follow the belt left, you'll hit the star Sirius. Other constellations, Gemini and stuff. If you go to the top shoulder star and go upward to the right one, you'll see the Pleiades and stuff like that. So when we looked up at the sky, we both were like, we were seeing constellations that we never saw before. So we both came upon the theory of maybe these beings, the mushroom, like Graham Hancock looks at it, it's a type of technology maybe. It allowed us to tap into our mind, I think, to see further with our eyes. And we talked about that with each other the next day when we were straight. We said, man, did you notice there were stars that, more? And he goes, yeah. And they were brighter. They were bigger. I mean, the stars were looking like bigger than I've ever seen them before. Bigger than planets. Because, looking at sky gazing, you can tell the difference between planets and stars, usually by eye, after you get a little experience. I've been doing it since like the late 90s. And that's why when I hear these guys say, oh, space is fake, stars, I'm like, come on, man. Have you ever looked through a telescope?
Yeah.
And it's not to say that they couldn't be right in some aspect. It's to say, bro, come on, It's like, I could be wrong, but you can't be wrong, right? You already know. You've seen it. It's like, come on. So I'm just saying, look, let's go further on learning. And so I have to admit, like when I was in Amsterdam, one of the Dutchmen that were there, I was in a cafe and I had taken the mushrooms, and he was like, he goes, nah, I don't take them. He said he had a bad trip.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I got to wonder, people do bad things and they never tell anybody about it. And it
Hmm.
reminds me of the Santa Claus thing. He knows when you've been naughty, he knows when you've been nice. So if deep down inside, it's going to make you look at yourself.
Hmm.
And if you've done things or you're not comfortable, that's what I think creates a bad trip.
Sure.
And I had wonderful trips. I remember one time there was a club called the Outback. I was in Rembrandt Square because, like how Manhattan has Lincoln Square and Union Square, in Amsterdam they have Leidseplein Square, Rembrandt Square, and other places like that. So I was at Rembrandt Square, and I'm walking, like I'm down the block from it. I'm walking out of the mushroom shop, and I see these two girls, and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Hey, what's up?" Because they already see, and this is a lot of things I tell guys that are straight, and they talk about, they have problems with women. I said, "Look, women like to get high, especially pretty women.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. And if they see that you're kind of a square, nothing wrong with being a square. But like I said, they want to get high. So they see me walking out the store. They're like, all right, he's cool off the bat. He's walking out of a mushroom shop. And I was cool with the people in the mushroom shop. I have pictures with them and all of that. They were really cool with me. I would sit by the counter and just hang out and talk to Jaka, which was the guy working there. He was like Dutch and Indonesian mix. Really cool dude. And I mean, they were like almost family with me after, for the couple of weeks I was there. I would go there, hang out, and there was a lady that owned it. She was like the mother of the shop, and she got to take a liking to me, like as a person, like looking at me like, wow, this is not your average American. This is even some of the Hungarian girls, they go, you're more like the cooler, like European guys. You're more laid back. You're not like America, and all this stuff. I was like, shoot, I'm happy to be here, Amsterdam. And then, they automatic, oh, you're from New York. And then, it just like New York is like the capital of the world to them. And to me, Amsterdam was the capital of the world,
Yeah.
the drug capital, basically. And
Can I
so
comment on that image you saw and that you said the woman with the leopard face?
yeah, it
That you,
wasn't a leopard face, it was a lion face, a
oh, line.
feline, like the feminine lion.
And you still remember it to this day, right?
Till this day, clear as I can picture it in my mind. I should make it with AI and how and all the art programs, because this
Yep.
was oh 07, I think.
The fact
This
that
is
you
not
still
06,
remember it.
07. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say the fact that you still remember it. I have to question whether or not it was just a figment of your imagination, unless that it was actually a real entity.
Oh yeah, it
That,
possibly. And I had saw Sekhmet about 8 years forward into the future, around 2015, in the museum. So I didn't know, so it wasn't like I saw the statue and then I was tripping and saw it. So I saw it before I ever knew what um the
what?
name of that statue is or that deity. Um
There you go. Yeah.
and to remember it clear, I remember a lot of my trips very clearly.
Hmm.
And the fact that I remember that part when I looked at the wall map and I saw the stars and then looked at my friend's head and the map was on his head. And I was like, wow. And I'm smiling because I was, back in the military and stuff. We smoked, I mean, massive amounts of weed. It was like kind of Cheech and Chong-ish. And yeah, I'm not sure why it was that, but the feline goddess, it was beautiful. It was purplish, translucent, holographic, and the magnetic rays that were emanating from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet to make an oval type thing. There was three of them on each side. And I'm looking at the wall and I'm dozing in and out because the mush would have you feeling that way. And I was like, wow, this is great. I didn't even know what the other two guys, Jay and G, was doing.
Hmm.
And it was amazing. I mean, and we had massive amounts of cannabis and stuff like that, but no alcohol. No alcohol. We had fruit because we knew that vitamin C would bring you back. I had natural vitamin C tablets too, in case somebody went a little too far. And so I guess they would call it a psychonaut. I mean, I haven't tripped for a while, you know,
Sure.
and I'm a person that that likes to go on those mental journeys. I haven't done it in a long time, but they were beautiful. And
But that's a life experience, and based on that, the idea, the concept of a spiritual realm all around us, I don't think should be that far of a stretch based on some of your experiences.
oh, it's definitely not. It's actually a reality to me.
Yeah, of
I just don't talk about it that much because you already know how people are. I mean, they're very
course.
judgmental. They're, you know, and especially how we both are on the same page with evolution. I mean, it's like it's possibly the worst religion I've ever encountered. I mean, the religious zealots for evolution are very judgmental and harsh, and there's no morality.
No, no.
It's just that they think they know everything.
Oh, you should listen. I was listening to Breakfast Tacos just earlier, and it's ridiculous. It's like they talk as if they know every single thing about any subject, including history. They'll tell you about what the people were doing back then, and this is
Mhm.
why they thought the way they thought. They actually know the thoughts of the people thousands of years ago. It's incredible that they know all this, but
Yeah,
they talk like that. I'm not kidding you. Go on their show, you'll see it yourself.
yeah. The ignorance has no bounds. Yeah,
No
and
bounds.
you know it's weird. It's when I see it, I think it's the same channel, Bloodbath Reviews or
Same
something.
thing. It's the same thing. Yeah, they
Oh,
have
it's the thing. Yeah, because
blood.
it pops. Yeah, and I went to look at it, but then I said it was getting close to this stream, and I said, and it was like maybe I think the panel was full almost, like nine
Yeah,
people.
what bloodbath is, it's a one-on-one debate. So they'll have a full panel, but then they'll say you want to have a bloodbath with one particular person, and you have a
Mhm.
one-on-one debate called a bloodbath.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, that was the stream they paid to have me muted, and
I've been muted too. Don't worry about it. I've been muted too.
yeah.
You can't take it seriously. That's the
Oh yeah,
key.
no, it was funny because I'm like, wow, these guys, they are a lot of them that have been abused by the religion they were grew up in,
Hmm.
and then they turn to atheism. They do the Aaron Ra, type of thing. That guy, Aaron Ra, the atheist guy who like kind of cheerleads the fake
Right.
Professor Dave. Black Circle had sent me an excellent documentary debunking evolution. I'll send it to you on email. I mean, it had some really good stuff, and the guy called out Aaron Ra, and it just, yeah. But going back to the trips, like, yeah, and um, I wonder about when I saw that, it was like, wow. And then the other time when I was tripping with just Jay and I had to call his girlfriend to come get him. And it was funny. We laughed about it the next day because I must have, he had gotten the mushrooms from a guy in Queens, the Muppet. We used to call him the Muppet. And these were Thailand. I think they were Thai mushrooms, and they were little, cute little mushrooms, and they were powerful. They were probably one of the best that I've taken. And I was eating them. I think I must have ate about 2 grams, and he was eating them, maybe even a little more. And he was eating them, looking at me eating them without realizing how much he was eating.
Oh,
So
really?
being that I was much more experienced, he started to get a serious trip, and that's when I had to watch him. I had to be like, okay, man, when he wanted to go outside, I said, look, I don't want you to be running down the street, crazy or whatever. So I had to
Yeah.
stay close to him and say, okay, you ready to go back inside? And then so he said he saw the natives. That trip, I remember when he started getting a little scared. It kind of has a thing that you can feel what somebody else feels. And I was feeling like when I closed my eyes, I started to see like this, like if you look at grass on a field and it was getting purple and black, and like these Venus flytrap like type of things were kind of moving.
You saw this.
Yeah,
You
and
saw
I'm seeing this when he's starting to get nervous, and I'm saying, you know what? Let me focus because he's starting to mess up my trip.
exactly. Oh,
And
wow.
so as soon as I thought about that, I was good. And I'm like, look, just relax, And I just wanted to sit down at the table and trip. I had to get up, get the air here. Here's your air mattress. Here's, just stay over there in the corner, and your girl's gonna come out here soon.
But do you
And
see how it could change? That trip could change from being beautiful to something horrific.
oh in an instant.
Yeah.
In an instant. If I was weak-minded, I could have been freaking out with him. But I was like, I'm not gonna let you mess up my trip, you know. It's like but I had to watch him because I looked at it as when people take the ayahuasca, they actually have someone there that watches everybody.
Hmm.
Sometimes they have a watcher for each person personally
Sure.
to guide them. Like Graham Hancock, I don't know if it was him or someone else, said that they vomited. I think it was someone else said that they vomited and they saw the shadow of a snake away out of the vomit.
Mm.
So it like cleansed something out of them. Now I never did the ayahuasca. My sister did, and I gotta admit, I didn't have a push to do. I didn't feel like doing it. The mushrooms were enough for me. I mean,
Sure.
they had the peyote cactus in Amsterdam. I didn't want to wake up naked like in Belgium 3 days later.
Yeah.
Who knows what'll happen? I mean, I'm in
That's what
Amsterdam.
scares me is just to be lose control. It's just, but that's my beef right there is with evolution is because as you see with the trips, there's another dimension to this world. And my beef with evolution is it's not reality. There is another reality that we can't see on a regular basis, but it exists. It's out there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's my beef. That's my whole problem. It's not to push religion on anybody. It's
Mhm.
my beef is reality. That's where my beef lies. That's why I'm against. That's my problem with evolutionists. It's like you guys aren't in reality. You're not dealing with what's out there.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's like it's a coping mechanism, and it's extremely judgmental. Somebody in the chat had said it's very ego driven. Yeah, Mehdi, academia is so ego driven. So true, so true. And thank you. Salute from Maine. Yeah, Maine's a beautiful state, man. I was in Lovell, Maine. I saw a chick there years ago. It's right over the border of New Hampshire, and great drive. It was I think about 7 hours to get there, but it was beautiful. I mean, driving around the United States is a beautiful. There's so much scenic stuff. I've never driven across country though. I think the furthest I've been is like Ohio, which is like
Oh,
8 hours. I mean, it's a tough drive. As you get older, you're like, man, you got to have a comfortable car if you're going to do it. I rented a SUV. It wasn't that comfortable. Um,
definitely got to see California someday.
yeah. I would rather like a passenger car. I'm more of a passenger car kind of guy. But if you're going that distance, a truck or something does make more sense. Um,
I don't
unless
like to drive anymore anyway. I like to sit in a bus or I'll sit in a train. I'd rather just let them do it.
yeah. Train might be cool. Yeah, I used to always fly. I've flown many times, looking
Oh,
out.
that too, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely beautiful seeing the.
Arizona's incredible. That's an incredible state to see. I really recommend
Wow. Yeah, I haven't been there. I've been to Cali, but yeah, not Arizona. I do want to go to Washington and Oregon because Washington has the Missoula, well, Montana, they have that Randall Carlson does a lot of archaeology about the floods that happened over there a long time ago.
it.
And then maybe see the Mount St. Helens area. I would like to take pictures of that. Um, yeah, that would be cool. But as far as and this is the thing that I noticed about ancient cultures, they were all into altering consciousness with certain plants
Yes.
and even like exercise too. Like the Hindus would be sitting folded up with the guru type of yoga stuff, which that itself is a trip, like you bending parts of you and breathing deeply. I mean, you can get high off of certain things like that. And they start to experience different states of consciousness. You're in a cave, or like the Buddhist monks, you're out in the cold and you're meditating and you're melting the snow around you, which is documented on video and stuff. I mean, that's some amazing control. It's shown us that the body, we have like almost superpowers with the body. And I noticed that with the mushroom. Many times on many trips I've taken that I would be in the room with somebody and I'd say, hey, did the light just get brighter? And they would say, yeah, man, it seems brighter. And then it would come back normal. And I said, maybe we have the ability to make the light brighter just by touching something in our mind. I said, we could possibly, in theory, look outside, because most of the times I've tripped have been at night. And I said, yeah, we could look outside and probably make nighttime look like daytime. That's how powerful the mind is. We just don't have the instruction booklet. We don't know the buttons to press. Kind of like that show, The Greatest American Hero, when he had the super suit, but he didn't have the instructions. And then he realized, oh, you got to take 3 steps and then jump, and that's how you fly. But he didn't know how to land, so he would always crash, you know? And yeah, it just, I noticed that with the lights. One time I was sitting at a table and the table got long. The room got longer, just like Alice in Wonderland. I mean, the way how the table was long, and I was like, wow, this is great, man. I was like, this is some Alice in Wonderland type of thing. So that I remember. There's pieces and bits that I remember from different ones. When I was in Amsterdam, I remember falling asleep in the hotel and I was seeing like a doorway, a black doorway, a rectangular doorway. And on the top and the 2 sides looked like what appeared to be fluorescent light bulbs, long, linear. So it was like illuminated, and they were, it was like a whitish green. And then it seemed like there were doorways on top of doorways. So it was like, either it was kind of like, it was moving toward me and turning at the same time, almost like the Twilight Zone intro with the doorway, but no door on the doorway. It was just the rectangular darkness. And then I looked in the corner of the room and I started seeing little stones form together to make a face, kind of like the stuff from Central America. Some of those deity kind of like with the face, kind of carved in rock. Mm-hmm. And then I fell asleep. Woke up the next day. And some really deep stuff. So somebody could say, oh, it's all in your mind, right? But I've experienced this with these teacher plants. I actually have a book called Plants of the Gods, and they talk about, a lot of these plants. They have some even stronger ones, which the datura plant, it's like the white trumpet flower. People use that, but that is like dangerous. They don't even classify that plant as a hallucinogen. They classify it as a deliriant. It'll make you delirious. Like one of my friends, he's like way beyond me. He's a little older, and he just has done he was, in the Studio 54 days and stuff in Manhattan. And he has experienced some really deep stuff. And he told me some friends took that plant and they were like, they didn't want to take it again. It's serious stuff. I mean, you can get hurt from that. Other ones too. Like some people have said that they think they got schizophrenia from eating the seeds. I think like 20 or 30 seeds can end somebody. I mean, why would anybody really want to mess with that? But you look at some of these people, that's what their living life is about. They experience this reality and they experiment with these things, which I think is amazing. I think it's amazing to have that type of courage. I know clearly that I was changed for the better.
Can I ask you a question about your experience too?
Yeah.
This is great. I mean, I love hearing this. Did you ever feel like any of the entities or any of the beings that what you saw was trying to tempt you to come closer, to come near them or be with them? Did you ever feel that way?
Nah, nothing like that.
Nothing like that? Okay.
Yeah, nothing verbal. It was all feeling. And
like when you see the doors, it's like come enter the door or come.
The door
deeper into it.
Yeah, when I was laying on the hotel bed and I was looking at the wall, and that's when I saw the door. And the door wasn't like human size; it was smaller, and it was coming forward, but not coming forward quickly, and it was twisting a little as it was coming forward. And remember, the perimeter, the sides and the top, not the bottom, had the fluorescent lights, and as it turned, you'd see like the door with like, it'd have trails, like fluorescent light, and then it would turn and you would see the door previously behind it, still there, the doorway really, not the door, because it was an open black doorway. and then you'd see the fluorescent light, and then it would turn, and it would start turning, and it was sort of like it gave like that brrr, like that repetitive type of thing without the sound. And that was when I fell asleep. So I don't know if I went through the doorway or whatever, but before that is when I looked up in the corner of the ceiling and I saw the stones coming together to form the little stone face. And I was like, wow, that looks just like, some archaeological stuff. And this was, I think, the Colombian mushrooms, because I had took two different types that day. Earlier that day, that guy, Eric, the Marine guy, we were in one of the, I think he took the mushroom, and I took a different type. I forgot what type, because there were so many different types. And I started feeling what he was feeling, because he had to go back to the Marine. He was a Marine. So he had to go back to duty to get shipped off to Iraq. I think he was stationed in Japan. And I go, man, I said, you kind of feeling a little like depressed. And he was like, yeah. And I said, wow, man. I said, I kind of feel what you're feeling, and he was like, wow. So, Amsterdam was really cool. So then when I went back to the hotel, I think I had taken the Hawaiian ones, and the Hawaiian ones are supposed to give you a really good trip, because that's not the Cubensis type. I think it's Coplandia. And yeah, that had some really amazing teaching, but it wasn't what I expected. I think I overtook them, because if you take too much, it's not really going to have an effect. And I was only there for a few weeks. So the first trip, trying to remember, I remember the first one, he took the Hawaiian, and we were sitting in the Bluebird Cafe, or the Bulldog Cafe. It was like a cafe that they promoted in High Times magazine. And he was staying in the Americana Hotel right across the street, and he started tripping so hard. He was like, yo, I got to go back to my hotel room. I was like, all right, I'm going to hang out here at the cafe. So he went there, and then these two girls from Welsh came in, and they were talking, and I go, hey, you girls, they were speaking English, and I could hear the accent, and they go, yeah, we're Welsh. So I go, could you speak some Welsh and see if I can interpret it? And they go, nah, we don't think you're going to be able to interpret it. I said, well, you're from England. So, but they go, yeah, it's totally different. And they started speaking it, and I couldn't make out a word. So I was sitting at the cafe, and we talked a little, and then I said, okay, let me just, leave, walk around. And I saw Eric like the next day or two. And, and that was the funny thing, because I told him, I said, man, how we ran into each other like 2 or 3 times. And I go, what happened? He goes, man, that thing started coming on so hard. He goes, I laid down. He goes, I looked at my jacket. My whole arm was like liquid. He goes, it was moving like a river or something. I was like, holy smokes. And, yeah, so I didn't really remember too much from that one. The one with the doorway was later that night. And I guess if I'll start to remember more into it and be like, okay, that one. But I had much better trips in the US. Like when I was tripping over here. One time my friend Pete, he had gave me some mushrooms, and I took them with my other friend Juan. And he wanted to get on the train and go to Manhattan. And I was like, I don't know, man. I think we should just hang out and take them first. And we took them, and they were strong. And Pete came over like an hour later, and we go, bro, when you walked in, it was like you stepping on the moon. Like we were already on the moon, and you came through, coming. And he goes, really? He goes, it hit you guys that hard? And we were like, yeah, man, that was some really amazing stuff. And it was a few hours. And then, so when I look at these ancient cultures that deal with these hallucinogens, it starts to really show me that these guys were exploring consciousness, like especially this one with the Christ mushrooms and stuff. And it makes me wonder why John Allegro wrote the book called The Holy Cross and the Sacred Mushroom. And they were linking the communion wafers to the mushroom. Because if you look at a communion wafer, good, when I was a kid, we used to go to like my sister was married in St. John of God. So she's Roman Catholic. So I was familiar a little, even though my family is not that religion. But it was I think it's a placebo effect, the communion wafer that they give you. A few researchers have talked about that. Brown's boy, man, thank you for the 14th light, man. Yeah, Welsh woman. These women were okay, but they weren't really too sick. They were kind of it wasn't really like my kind of woman. I mean, Amsterdam had so many beautiful women. And yeah, the visions, man. Good to see you, Mira D. I had a few NDEs like visions. Wow. Wow. That's yeah. I guess sometimes when people get close with the NDEs to, near death experiences,
Mm-hmm.
you might experience some stuff like that. Some people say it's DMT getting released from the brain, but I don't know. I think definitely it shows us that there's something dramatically, immensely bigger than the non-physical.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So it's not even on an equal level. It's like it's an ocean of spirituality or non-physicality. And the body and the physical reality is like an extremely small part of it.
Sure.
And that one researcher was saying that about the transparent hieroglyph blocks, where he was saying, yeah, if you could see through the blocks, which you can't, he goes, these hieroglyphs line up on the next room. So he was saying that he thinks that they're trying to tell us that the physical is not real or something or something like that. I got to look at the video again.
Definitely temporary, the physical. It's all
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's another realm that is more permanent than this realm. Much more permanent. This is a very short blimp in time that we spend here, if you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, the physical, when I have dreams, because sometimes I'll have intense dreams and they're beautiful. Even the nightmares. I can't even call them nightmares. They're just intense dreams.
Sure.
They're just wonderful adventures, I would say.
But sometimes bad dreams are good dreams also, because it's like a warning. Don't do
Yes.
this. You're going to end up in this type of situation if you follow this path. It's like a
Mhm.
warning. And I've had a lot of dreams like that, and I'm thankful for them.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for that dream.
Yeah.
I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I guess that's why I believe in the spiritual realm. It's because it's reality. It's not what I want. Because a lot of times too, the spiritual reality, like I said, you can have bad trips
Mhm.
and see things you don't want to see, or experience things you don't want to experience. Like your
Mhm.
friend, he had a bad trip.
Yeah.
So it's not about liking or disliking, or no, it's about reality. It's just, it could be good, it could be bad, but it's just real. It exists. That's my
Mhm.
whole point of view, my whole premise of what, and based on people's life experience, I think it supports it. The evidence supports that other realm. Experiences, your friends,
Mhm.
and what, a billion other people, and throughout time, billions throughout the history of the world have had these experiences with the supernatural. So, or the non-physical, however you want to call it, because it would be supernatural by definition.
Mhm.
Nothing scientific, no natural or scientific laws could explain this. Of course, they'll always try and say, well, it's your brain releasing dopamine or you know what I mean? It's just,
Mhm.
they got to come up with something, but they come up with something that they're just making up, that they can't prove at that point, you know?
Yeah, they don't want to accept anything that can dismantle their religion of evolution. It
Yeah,
just
it's like yesterday I was listening to this guy in the breakfast tacos, and they're getting a debate with another guy about, and he's saying, well, look, 365 million years ago, the organisms were doing this. It's like, that's your science. You were around 365 million years ago, and you saw what the organisms were doing at that time. That's incredible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, I trolled him and said, no, it's actually 365 and 27 seconds. Because it's like, you might as well throw out any number at this point. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, that's hilarious, man. I mean, they're so delusional at the point. It's like fear. They're so afraid of the unknown that
Hmm.
they have to lie to themselves and say that they know about the unknown. Well,
Yeah,
it's called the unknown because you don't know about it.
exactly.
And then they, the slurs, oh, you're a creationist and this, and it's like, so you are too. It's like it just shows me the ignorance level to where it's really, I feel pity for them, especially guys like the fake Professor Dave and a few of these other guys. I mean, I'd like to speak with James Torr and those guys and Stephen Myers and Kent Hovind. I spoke with Ken Hovind once.
You did,
Oh
really?
yeah, I called him on the telephone. Yeah, I think it was
Personal phone call?
a personal phone call. He had a number somewhere, and I think it might have been on his stream.
Hmm.
And I said, you know what? Let me call him up. And I don't think it was a Sunday. It might have been like a Saturday. And I said, you know what? Let me try to call him. I call him up, bang, he picked up the phone. Hey, how you doing? I was like, holy smokes.
Hmm.
And I was like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, oh, and I don't remember exactly. I didn't like try to press him or anything, but he tried to, be like, hey, we get you, get yourself a good King James version. And I'm
Hmm.
like, well, I'm not really religious. And he's like, we'll bring you over to the Lord and stuff like that. And I'm like,
Yeah, good
kind of
work.
like in a nice way, like I'm not trying to convert to any religion, but
Hmm.
um, he was telling me, he goes, yeah, he goes, he's getting old. I think he's around 70
And
or
he
in his
great
70s.
videos, his creation series. I mean, the scientific aspect
Oh,
of
he's crushing them with the science. He was a science teacher for like 20 years or something. There is no evolutionist that can stand up against him. And
it. Right.
his science is, yeah, he really, but I mean, the religion, it drives people toward the evolution. I don't think he notices that.
Well,
And
he's also approaching it wrong from a theological point of view. He's not
yes,
doing
yes,
the right thing because smart guys like him, and he's a
mhm,
very intelligent guy,
yeah,
understanding creation, intelligence need not apply. The reason is because by definition, it's supernatural. Logic and reason cannot apply.
yeah, yeah. I
It
mean,
does.
I was thinking of calling him again and trying to see if I can get him on the show.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, I was thinking, or even asking them like, "Hey, could we do a phone call thing or StreamYard,
Or
private?" And
collaboration, even.
yeah, put it on the show because see, the thing is, he's really trying to convert people. So it's like, I kind of feel kind of funny because it's sort of. I mean, I respect the fact that he believes in his faith so much. I mean, when I look at that, I see a guy that's happy, and there's nothing that why would I even want to disturb that? I mean,
Yeah.
he is just so happy. He's like, hey, the Lord, and that's where he's going to go. And I have family members that feel kind of like that. Like I remember saying decades ago, that, like, I'm not going to mess with their faith because it's them. That's their happiness. And when I see that with Kent, I'm like, wow. And they got his channel deleted, I think, his first channel. He would get into it with atheist. And
Hmm.
there was a girl that left. And I don't know, it's passing to a point. Like, I guess if anybody leaves the church or whatever, they might look at it as their duty to get them back or something, into the church. Uh,
Right.
and I guess there was a battle, and then he went away I didn't know he did so much time. I think he did about 9 years.
He did a long time. It was for tax evasion.
Yeah, for tax. And it's messed up because it's like, wait a minute, how are you going to put a guy, it's messed up. It's really messed up when I look at that. It's like, I mean, taxes is just, I mean, to do that for monetary, because he spoke about something like Jubilee. Every 50 years, you're supposed to get everything forgiven or something, according to his faith in the Bible. And I'm like, well, that's actually a good benefit if they actually stuck to it. So any type of debt or whatever would be forgiven after 50 years on Jubilee, I guess. I haven't read about it. But just to see somebody that's so invested in it, the problem is that he seems to believe it to the letter. And there's anything you talk about, like the Book of Enoch or other stuff, he's like, oh, all of that is like blasphemy or something. I forgot what he called it on one of his things. So a lot of people, what's so funny is a lot of people are traumatized by Ken Hovind.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious, man. I see these people when they hear me talking about evolution, they immediately bring them up like, oh, Ken Hovind. And I'm like, bro, what did Ken Hovind do to you? It's like you, only you can allow that to bother you. He can't bother. I mean, the guy is okay. He's bringing his science out. And I think it's, it is kind of funny the way he puts his faith into it. If I could speak with him and Stephen Meyer and a few of the others, I would say, look, man, I know what you're trying to do, but you're actually driving people away when you break down the false pseudoscience of evolution, but then immediately try to tell them that the Bible has no flaws and stuff like that.
That
So
should be left to a whole separate debate. It shouldn't even be included in the debate of evolution.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it should just be strict science. And I think that's where he kind of loses some of the people on that. Mirror D, thank you for the 13th like. Well, I thought Brown's Boy was the 14th like. I didn't know. Or number 14. I'm not really sure. I thought it meant like.
No, he's got such good stuff, MD, that I wouldn't let it turn you off because his science is so on point that it's just worth it just to hear his theories. I mean, he won about the moon and the craters on the moon and how most likely they formed from rocks shooting out of the Earth's surface to the moon. And it kind of makes sense that during this biblical flood time that they talked about, that the oceans opened up and the rocks could have hit the moon. There that much power, that much pressure was applied from those oceans underneath the grounds of the ocean floor. There was so much pressure that it would shoot rocks that high, and he's got
It
some.
makes me wonder, like just the moon itself being in the position, you only see one side of it. And it makes me wonder, like everything looks fabricated, the environment, the people, all life, when I look at it more and more. And I start to say, this is constructed. Everything seems to be constructed. Now, I don't think it's constructed by any type of deity that was written about in a book. I would say it goes much further than that. If he would expand it to the different books, like say the 5 books of the Torah, include the other, Apocrypha, the book of Enoch, or the book of Giants. I think that it's in the same book, but and then go into other religions, Hinduism, the Chinese Taoism and stuff. Just look at different belief systems. He would, it would be much. It would be pretty good, but I understand that his deep faith in Christianity and that section of Christianity, it's that's what he believes in. I take what I can and then leave the rest. So it's sort of like not trying to change his faith. He'll definitely try to change somebody else's. I noticed that.
Well, that's not supposed to be done that way either. No human being changes another human being to the creator. It doesn't work that way. So that part he's got all wrong. He's got it all wrong.
Yeah. And it also allows people to come in that are not genuine. And that's why you have so many imposters in these religions. Because if you're accepting anybody, well, you already know what you're going to get. You're going to get some that are good, but the majority that are not.
Yeah, most people go to church. They accept the theory of evolution. They just go to church. It's a tradition for them. So it's not this real battle between creation, the religious and the non-religious. Not really, because most of your religious is just routine. It's all it is. It's yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And thank you, Cope Approach, for being the 16th like, man. I appreciate it. Great channel and discussions. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Mirror D. Have you ever heard of Gnosticism? I like some elements. Yes, I have. Actually, I went on the live stream Gnosis, something Gnosis, trying to remember it. But the host tries to play like an agnostic, but he's really an atheist. He's really an evolutionist, basically, because he had on the guy, one of his friends were on there, Cougar Doomer, and I asked that question when they were saying, oh, evolution is, proves so much. And I said, well, things don't turn into another. They said, oh, yeah, there's a bacteria that turned in. And I asked them the simple question, okay, what's the name of the bacteria? and what's the name of the bacteria it turned into. And it got to where they got a little nasty. Like the other guy was like, eventually he's like, why do you need to ask that question? Once he said that, I was like, wow. I said, you guys are just like the church, basically, or I can't ask certain things or something. And not all churches are like that. Like most of them will just at least be like, well, we don't know, just got to believe. And I don't like to believe. I like to know. I like to think. Thinking suspends belief, and belief suspends thinking. So it's like, look, I'd like to think, kind of like Von Daniken. When Von Daniken wrote his book Chariots of the Gods, and he was I think he was in college, he was a theologian. So he studied religion. And he said, look, and excellent marketing guy, because when he wrote Chariots of the Gods, he called it Memories of the Future. The publisher was like, no, that ain't going to sell. And Chariots of the Gods, bang. I think he must have sold 100 million copies. And he went to jail for a couple of months too, because he falsified hotel records to get the loan to go on the trips. And I respect him for that. I mean, I can't be mad at him for that. He followed his dream. I think he did about 8 months, and he did his thing. You can't hate on a guy for that. He did what he thought he had to do to get to where he's at. And but he mixed in the evolution thing, like, they came down here, the gods, and they manipulated the what was on Earth, and things don't show that. When you look at stuff, nothing was evolving into an ape man. This whole thing is, but he did it to catch the evolution side of the sale, which was very smart. And then the religious part of it, saying, they came from outer space, the gods, chariots of the gods. So that caught the religious part. And a lot of people, that was their first book that brought them to, it wasn't mine. I read some Graham Hancock stuff in the 90s. I never even knew about Chariots of the Gods before the mid 90s or the late 90s. I found about later. And I have the book. It's not a big book, about 120 pages. It has some stuff in it that, maybe now might not be as accurate, but it has some pretty good stuff in it too. And just the fact that he questions, but that Gnosticism, the Gnostic channel, I hear, and I don't know if this is correct, but they say that they look at the serpent and Eve as the hero in the story. If I'm interpreting it correctly.
I'm not familiar with it, but that's interesting. I know they say the flesh is evil or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look into it. I should ask people about it more. I used to keep in touch with a guy when we had the other channel. I think his email was like Gnostic Christian or something. I have no beef with religious people. Monotheistic and polytheistic. The evolution people are just. I mean, they're super trolls.
Nothing wrong with having a beef with the religious people, especially if they're preaching something that isn't right. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, if they're trying to tell me I got to convert, and I see it with some, I'm like, look, first of all, I'm not doing that. I'm not messing with, it really, yeah. Those type can get, and every religion has them.
Yeah.
The only two that I see that ain't going to try to convert you is Judaism and Hinduism. They're like, hey, you do what you want to do. The other ones, they're trying to convert you. And that's why with those two religions, I see them more cooler. It's like, all right, hey, whatever. So that's what it is. That's the way. Okay, cool. If I want to convert, I can. But you're not trying to convert me.
Yeah, I mean, I had people knocking at my door, and I said, "No, I'm busy."
And said, man,
yeah. You don't want Jesus? And it's like, lady, I don't know what religion you are, but you got it all wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm just saying. It's not a door-to-door thing.
I learned a lot. Yeah, the Jehovah Witnesses. I learned a lot about. I had friends and certain members that knew people of the family, and I learned. I look at everybody has a piece of the puzzle that that if we put it together, we can get a broader view of reality. And the Jehovah Witnesses had some stuff that I was like, okay, makes sense. When I was younger, I didn't really care to understand it, but as I got older, I said, yeah, that makes sense. They said never to hate people. You just dislike their ways. And that's a very smart way of looking at it because hatred can destroy you. That's something that can really destroy a person. And
Well, it's scientifically proven too,
yeah,
that our bodies weren't designed for hate because it produces more adrenaline throughout the body. That
yeah,
hormone that can
yeah.
really ruin your organs. It can cause a lot
Yeah.
of health problems.
So that I agree with them. You don't want to hate nobody.
Mhm.
You just dislike their ways. I don't celebrate holidays. I mean, I'm not saying that I won't. If somebody's having a Christmas party, hey, okay, Merry Christmas, whatever. But I'm not trying to, celebrate anything because they said so. I don't vote. I never voted. So Jehovah Witnesses base it on that. They don't vote. They don't do this. So there is stuff that we looked at as eye to eye. And then other religion. The Roman Catholic one is a little bit strict. Um,
Yeah, that's where I grew up in the Roman
yeah,
Catholic.
my sister and them, I remember as a kid, definitely been to the church a few times. Apostolic Church was a little more laid back. I think that's a regular Christian church. And, most Christian stuff is a little more laid back, some of them.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but that was about the extent. And Hinduism, I've been to Hindu temples and stuff, which was actually pretty cool. They were actually pretty cool. People are more like, they're really laid back. They're just like, hey, man, just, it's just a ride, kind of like the Bill Hicks thing. It's just a ride.
But look at it this way too. If there's a creator who made everything, logically, does it make sense that he be contained in some building somewhere?
Yeah,
The
no,
whole
yeah.
universe, the earth, he holds it all together, meaning if he's not
Mhm.
in charge of it,
Yeah.
it can't exist. So is there any real house or apartment or, whatever, you see the churches everywhere, especially in the poorer neighborhoods. They're in like every corner. Does it really make sense that he'd be hiding out in some house? No. He's got to be everywhere at all times. That's the only thing that makes sense. Him or
Yeah.
she.
Well, I
Everywhere.
think it even goes beyond that. So it's like, okay, if that exists, maybe it's more of a they instead of a he, or even a she, maybe, or I would say a group. And let's just say it does go beyond that to a he or a she. There's got to be something beyond that,
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it like, yeah, that seems to be a no-brainer that something created or some group created everything, or maybe one group created a part of something and the other something else created existence. Because when you look at existence itself, now that's a whole different question. That's to say, wait a minute, so now we're dealing with existence itself, the entire spirit realm, the physical realm, and everything beyond both of them. So now it gets even deeper to say, like, whoa, this is existence is a whole different question. And yeah, man, the Gnostic channel, yeah, they're definitely a bunch of antinatalists. I've noticed that about they're not really Gnostics. Like real Gnostics, I don't know if I've encountered them, but I've definitely encountered people that say they're Gnostics. Because I think it's fascinating to say that, they think Eve is the hero for taking the jump to learn and see the knowledge. What I get from it is that when you get a choice, because I would always say, man, they had a chance to eat that other fruit or whatever that was, everlasting life. But everlasting life doesn't make sense without knowledge because you
Mhm.
won't even know you're living forever. You're just like a farm animal that is immortal. So to know is worth it, even if your life is finite. And that's part of the message I get from the Garden of Eden. Now, in other texts, like there's a Jewish text called the Haggadah, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. In that text, they speak a little deeper about that situation. In the Bible, they make you think God turned the serpent into a snake to roam on his belly, like with a wand or something magically, and then he turns into a snake and he's got to roam on his belly to eat the dust, right? I've heard people say the story. But in the Haggadah, you get a real account. They hacked off the limbs of the serpent. So it was much more brutal. So then when you start to say, wait a minute, these creators are kind of very close to the stuff we are. They can be good and they can be bad. And maybe did that as a warning to anybody else to say, look, you mess around with our experiment and just go look and see what happened to the serpent. You see what we did to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've been, you look into some of these older texts and you start to see, especially the Sumerian stuff. You look at Pishtim or something like that. That's the character that they say translates down as Noah. So he is what, the grandfather? No. Noah is like the grandson of Enoch or something, or the great grandson. I'm not really. I got to look back just to check it. But then you look at Enoch being brought to heaven and turned into an archangel called Metatron or Metatron. I've seen it spelled Matt. Because I said Metatron, that sounds like the Transformers.
That's what I was thinking first time I heard.
And now check this out. In Christianity, they have paintings of Metatron with his cube. So they have a thing known as the cube of Metatron.
Mm.
And then when you look at Megatron from the Transform, what's he trying to get? The cube.
That's
the
true.
Allspark. I think they call it the Allspark, which is a cube that creates life, actually, right? I think in the Transformers.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that cube. That's in the Metatron cube is a sacred geometric symbol made of 13 circles connected by straight lines derived from the flower of life.
I mean, possibly, but when I look at that, I'm saying to myself, like, okay, the cube in Saudi Arabia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody,
right. Mecca. You're talking about Mecca?
Yeah, it's like the black cube or something.
Yeah, where they go to. It's a very. They go there to touch it. And...
Yeah, and they all walk around like in a circle around it. I mean, it's very extremely cult-like. Like, yeah, I start to be like, wow, this is. I mean, same thing with other religions too. Very, very cult. But that's like on another level. People walking around, kind of odd. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the religions. I have to admit that Terence McKenna said it once. He said, there's more spirituality in a handful of mushrooms or in one magic mushroom, than in all the religions of the world combined. And after trying them, I understand where he's at. Now, he was an evolutionist. He tried to use the stoned ape theory, like apes taking mushrooms and getting conscious and magically turning into humans, which is ridiculous from a scientific standpoint. I mean, I couldn't believe that he was so hung up on evolution. I mean, when I look at these people that are so infected with evolution, it comes to a point, like when I look at guys like, Hovind and other guys, it's like, I ain't trying to change their fate, but even if you wanted to try, I don't think anybody's going to be able to even put a dent in it. He believes what he believes, and okay, that's cool. And especially if they're getting paid for it. The church does the same thing. You're making money with the church. I mean, look at all the money Joel Osteen made.
Oh, yeah.
Ridiculous. And then when people needed help, he wouldn't even help them.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe that. One of my nephews, follows him. He's got the books. He reads his stuff. Successful, but I mean, Osteen just is very cult-like. It's a cult on another level. I mean, when he just the creepy dude.
I call them zombies too. Going to Joel Osteen, to me, that's not for my belief system. That's not the way to go. That's not,
he can seem a little creepy. The lady Joy Myers or Joyce Myers, yeah, she reminds me. She's got that Joker type smile, like the Joker or something. But I think I don't know if she got caught in a scandal. Who's the other one? Kenneth Copeland.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, demonic. And even some of the Australian guy, Ken Ham. Ken Ham is weird.
Yeah, Ken Ham.
Yeah, Ken Ham reminds me of the preacher from Poltergeist. That weird preacher that, had everybody sealed in like a cave until they all passed away. Um, yeah, Ken Ham is kind of creepy. He's high creepy level because these are the guys that go around trying to, they have science that they break out to crush evolution, but then they get a little too religious, you know, to where him, I think the other one is Andrew Snelling, and the fact that we will present scientific evidence that refutes the evolutionary religion, people would automatically think we're Christians under one of these guys. And it's
Because
like,
they're
oh,
anti-Christian. That's what all atheism is about, is anti-Christian.
yeah, yeah, it
Because most
really
of the
is.
Satanists, I mean, the ones at the top, that's what
Mhm. Yeah. There's a few that are anti-Muslim. There's a group called Ex-Muslims of North America. And one of the girls, I forgot her name, she was from Pakistan. And she said her family was really relaxed. They're cool. She goes, she doesn't want them to be persecuted, or anything. They never did anything wrong. They actually allowed her to be free to where she actually left the religion, which is extremely rare in the Islamic case. Um, at least Christians are allowed to leave, without, being persecuted, like they say in Islam. But
right.
she, they were part of a group, Ex-Muslims of North America. And when I heard her in an interview with Trigonometry, that channel, I think they, almost at 1 million or something. Um, they, she said she was an atheist. And then I was like, wow. I was like, she's been so abused by other people in that religion that
Mhm.
she went atheist. So I see atheism, it's not just anti-Christian, it's anti-Christian, anti-Muslim, anti-religion through usually some type of abuse.
Yeah.
So kind of like Aaron Ra, he definitely seems like butt pirates got to him in the church when he was young. I think it was like around 12 or something. I think he might have spoke about it.
Oh,
And yeah, he actually, they got pictures of him with dudes like, village people type of stuff, the leather, no shirts, definitely some village people action going on with him. And the guy, when I send you the video, he shows a picture with that guy with two of these guys, one on each side of him. And hey, whatever somebody does, whatever floats their boat, that's one thing. But it does show, yeah, it shows like, yeah, that guy's he's a creepy character too, actually.
yeah. That's why I would never, would never try and promote religion or defend religion, because there's a lot of, they just use it as a guise for something else,
Hmm. Yeah,
whether it
yeah,
be money or to take advantage of people, unfortunately,
yeah, yeah. No, it definitely. Mira D says, has anyone seen the movie Jones Plantation? It shows the futility of voting and how fake it is. Yeah, I think that's Larkin Rose. I'm subscribed to him. He wrote the book, The Most Dangerous Superstition. And it's actually a pretty good. I didn't see the movie though. I remember when he was talking about making it. I didn't know it's out. Um, yeah, he's right. Government is a fiction created. It's a whole psychological thing, and that creates another fiction called an authority, which creates another fiction, which are laws. And it's a psychological mental ravaging. And we see the political zombies and stuff, with that. The political zombies are, I mean, that's another religion, basically. It seems to be like very, matter of fact, a lot of political zombies are religious. So they're a double spectrum zombie right there. And just, a lot of the right wing, very religious. I noticed some of the left wing are more atheistic.
yeah. No, that is the case for sure.
Yeah, so it's like two religions, and that's the thing with the atheists. They'll constantly battle that it's not a religion, and it's like, well, it's a belief system. You believe something, you don't know it for sure, and that's the basis. That's the first thing for a religion, and then behavior. So we see the belief with their behavior, and then a belonging. They want to belong to a group of another a bunch of atheists. So it fits the three criteria right there for religion.
Exactly. It is.
Yeah. So they and usually it brings in the doctrine, when you say, well, how do you think stuff, how do you think we got here? And that's when they bring in evolution, their religion, the religion of the atheist.
Or they'll just make a smart comment like, "Oh, my parents," knowing fully well the context of what you meant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, like I say, I don't take sides on the religious side. I don't take sides on the atheist side. I don't.
Yeah.
Both sides aren't very appealing to me, but I do take sides with reality. That is my issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Reality is where it's at, man. A lot of people don't want to look for reality. And I have nothing against either or the evolutionist or the religion of people. I just understand, okay, this is where they're at. I don't, as long as they're not trying to convert me, and even if they do, I realize I know why. It's because of the mental implications that they're going through. Kind of like Nietzsche said, no one ever converts to a religion. You have to be sick enough to accept it. And that's a pretty deep statement when I think about that. I mean, a lot of stuff he said is pretty deep. Everything the state says is a lie. Everything they've stolen. I mean, that's kind of deep, but it's true when you really look at it. But the religion thing, yeah, that when you really think about it, you say, yeah, a lot of these people have been through so much that they got to a point that they were, that's why they accepted it, because they were at a breaking point. Kind of like Alan Watts said, man's extremity is God's opportunity. So in other words, you have to be desperate. You have to be in that position, and not saying anything bad about people that would believe in God or a God or many gods. Like Azarun, I would think he has a belief that's polytheistic, many, hundreds or even thousands of gods. And it just, it really makes me, just say, hey, you can only meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Well, think about things that happened in ancient times. We know the Mayans did human sacrifice. We know that happened through the temples. And there's probably been other groups too. All I'm saying is, was that just some ancient primitive people that practiced their religion, or does it continue on today? We don't know.
I think it continues. I think
Yeah.
one person, they gave a really good breakdown. They said that whenever one culture invades another, especially if they're religious, the other culture's beliefs will get mixed in. And when we see that with the Mayan and the Aztecs, right, we see it in pictures of Jesus Christ when he has his heart open and there's thorns around the heart. But the heart is open, and some pictures you can see a little bit of blood around the opening. And I wondered to myself, why would they have a picture like that? And that's exactly what the Mayans and the Aztec was doing, right? They were cutting the heart out.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, you say, wait a second. It seems as if it got absorbed, but some of it has basically changed part of Christianity in some way. Just the way Hinduism changed Islam. Because if you look at, the Taj Mahal is actually the temple of Shiva. And they try to lie and say, oh, this Shah built it and all of that as a tomb. And it's like, well, why didn't they build any other buildings like that if they really had that technology? No, the Hindus. And the Hindus, Shiva has a symbol of a crescent moon. And what do you see in Islam? The symbol of the crescent moon. And Baghdad is actually a Hindu name, Bahagdad, like the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord's Song, because that's what the holy book of many Hindus are. So you look at Bahagdad, you look at the Persian architecture, very similar to the Taj Mahal with that type of pointy top with like like a dome. That's actually Hindu architecture. That their empire seemed to have stretched further than Iraq. And they're even saying now that they're finding stuff over in South America that's very Hindu-like, showing
Mhm.
it spanned across. Well, it used to be Indonesia, that was all Hindu and all going through those islands, and possibly across the Pacific into Peru, because they're saying that the three-pronged thing on the beach of Peru is actually the trident of Shiva. So, and again, you look at a trident of Shiva. Who else has a trident? The god Neptune,
Yeah.
god of the sea from the Greeks. So, it really seems to be a story that's being told that's in different ways, but it's the same story of some type of deities that had a lot to do with influencing humanity, creating stuff like that.
I mean, all these cultures, they all worship these beings, these deities. They claim that we're the creator, we're the god, but
Hmm.
they could just be lower level, spirits.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, even the Indians, the American Native Indians, had their spirit guides
Oh yeah,
across the cultures, different cultures.
yeah.
They all had them. So, what's going on? Is it just a bunch of primitive people not that intelligent, or is there something to it? And I think there's something to it. I think
Yeah.
it has a great influence over our world.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Very, very there's definitely something to it. It's like people, they don't people get comfortable. And this is where I think it was a cardinal that created the seven deadly vices or sins. I forgot which cardinal it was, but or a bishop or something like that.
Hmm.
But those, and they also had the opposite. So you had the seven deadly sins, but then you had like the seven virtues or something like that. Which when you look at it, really it makes sense. If you look at like if a person understands the seven deadly sins, they can kind of understand like, look, somebody, if you can't control envy and greed and lust and anger, wrath, and gluttony and stuff like that, then those things will control you.
Of course.
And that's what we see. We see a lot of people that are just slaves to their senses. And I think the Hindus say that your senses are like the five horses. And if you don't control them, they'll pull you in directions like a wild animal. So you have to take the reins and control your senses. And you're not even the charioteer that's controlling the senses. You're the person that's controlling the charioteer, or even beyond that. So it's like, the king on the chessboard is the most valuable piece. The queen has the most power, which was originally called the vizier, the advisor, the king's advisor, because the queen is not expendable in a kingdom, but the advisor is. And so the object is checkmating the king, but you're not the king. You're the player that moves the king. So it's like when you look at these backdrops of how, you think this is you, but it's not really you. You are before this. Like Alan would get deep on it a lot and
Hmm.
say like, he would say self-improvement is a sham. You can't improve yourself. And to go into it, he would say, well, how do you improve yourself? Like, you can't improve yourself. It has to come from outside, because the person that needs to be improved is you. So how does a person that needs to be improved improve himself? Because you already need help. So that person that needs the help doesn't have the qualifications to do the improvement. So what if you can't improve yourself? What if it has to come from something outside of you? and you realize there's nothing you can do to improve yourself. He goes, now for an American audience, that's horrifying because there's industries built on self-improvement, the
Yeah.
grifters, all of this. He goes, but he goes, what if we explore the thought and we say, okay, there is no way to improve yourself. You cannot improve yourself. He goes, what do you get from that? What do you get from saying you can't improve yourself? He goes, you get a rest. You get to think. You get to sit back. He goes, and now when you sit back and you think, don't try to figure it out. Because if you try to figure it out, you're falling back into the trap. You just got to be. He goes, and when you be, he goes, it gives you a break and you start to observe and you realize that the best things that are happening in life, you're already doing. Like it's already happening. It's a happening type of thing. And it gets really deep. I used to listen to Watts in the late 90s a lot. I mean, I actually spoke with his son, his eldest son, Lee Harvey, because when I called, well, I had gave $100 to Free Speech Radio back in like 97, 98 when I heard Alan Watts' speeches. He had already passed a long time. And I donated 100 and got 3 of the tapes, Learning the Human Game. And I mean, just those 3 tapes had such a deep philosophy. I was like, wow, this guy is just on another level. He said that the apple tree isn't bearing apples. He goes, the apple tree is appling. So the apples are appling, the star is starring, the clouds are clouding. And if you don't understand it, look at it again. The earth is peopling. And when I called up, I said, look, I got in touch with his son and I go, I want to order the whole tape set. It was like $240. A friend said he'd go half with me. So I said, all right, I'll get them. And I still got them. It was on cassette tape. And some of them are good. Some of them are so-so. I've heard some much better stuff on the internet too, like other stuff he talked about with King David, when he said when David was to become a king, he wasn't given a throne, he was given an obstacle because greatness is not given. It is provoked. It is provoked to bring something out from within you. So when the storm comes, you don't run from it. You don't hide. You bow down to it because the storm has come to crown you. And it's deep and true. It's very true to face things, to face certain things, to become. That's greatness is provoked.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be given a throne. You're not, it's going to test you. And in school, we learn the opposite. You study and then you get tested. That's backwards. In life, you get tested and then you learn from that test. So you never run from that. You bow down to it. It's here. The storm is here to crown you. Those hardships are here to crown you, to reveal the greatness, to provoke the greatness that's within you. So Watts, he would get deep, man. Watts would get deep, just like Richard Thompson and Michael Kreml, who wrote Forbidden Archaeology. Now they were Hindus, I think, like Hare Krishnas or something. When I met Kreml back in 2018, Thompson had already died. He passed years before that. I think they found him floating in his pool. It seems like some foul play was happening. I think they said it was a heart attack, but when somebody's face down in the pool, it makes you wonder. Oh my goodness. Mira D says, I've been trying to super chat, but keep getting errors on YouTube. We'll watch the catch up anyways. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you. We do have links in the description, PayPal and Cash App. But thank you, man. I guess, yeah, that's kind of weird that YouTube has those errors on.
I had no problem.
Stated earlier, everything was fine, right?
Yeah, everything was fine. Just like
maybe it's something on his end.
But comment on all the philosophical beliefs that you just quoted and all the different thoughts and so forth. That should tell you right there that there's longing that we have as human beings to have greater understanding or depth of knowledge of something that we know is there, but we can't pinpoint it. That means that's there. We wouldn't have this desire if it wasn't there. We just don't
Yeah.
know what it is, or even maybe what to ask for. But we're dying for direction. We're dying for guidance.
Mhm.
And that tells you something, that there's this. It's not just this physical realm that we're is our existence. There's something
Yeah.
else out there. That's why we have this desire. We know it's something in us.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The stuff that I've experienced, it has showed me. It didn't need to prove it really, but
Mhm.
there's just the oddness of existence. Just to say that, it seems very odd that I'm here. How did I get here?
Right.
They tell me, okay, the physical born, but there was something that grew in me. That was something that maybe it was there already, and it just I became. I was already that. I didn't become it.
Mhm.
It just needed to be revealed. So, and that's what they say about a lot of the fables they talk about, like with you don't know what you really are, kind of like the donkey and the lion, where the this lion was raised by donkeys to where he thought he was a donkey. He'd go to the river, drink everything, and then one day a real lion comes, a lion that was raised in the wild, and he pounces on him, and the lion's like, please don't eat me, Mr. Lion. He goes, what are you talking about? You're a lion, man. And he's like, no, no, he's a donkey. So he drags him to the river and shows him himself in a reflection. Look, and he's like, and at that moment, he realizes, holy smokes, I'm not a donkey, I'm a lion. And it kind of also says that with the eagle in the hen house. The eagle thinks he's a chicken and doesn't realize he can fly. So he lives his life as a chicken and not knowing the whole time he can fly. And this is some serious stuff when we look at it. We're so much more than we are.
Yes.
And everything is trying to tell us that, oh no, you're a monkey, that has came from nothing, and that's it.
Right.
That's yeah, that if a person doesn't know, that can break, it can break their spirit. It can have them thinking like they are nothing. And that's what we see. They have no moral. They're like, oh, we're just monkeys. And then they give these people like super platforms to where they just idiotize the world.
Right.
It,
Do
it
you see the difference between, like, when you told me that's this what the experience you had, and seeing the, I can't remember again the name, but the entity that
oh
you saw,
yes, segment. Yeah,
the Met,
segment.
the
Yeah.
Met.
Mhm.
I didn't dispute one fact that you had that experience, but you tell that to, let's just say you really felt strongly about it, that it was so real. You tell that to an evolutionist or an atheist, he's going to say that's just chemicals in your brain. It's just a hallucination. No,
Mhm.
that was real.
Exactly. Exactly. A hallucination is voting. That's a hallucination. Thinking that your vote's going to change anything. That's a hallucination.
But
You
imagine
know,
the people who have NDEs experiences and they'll discount them.
yeah. When
So
I look at it, if they say, well, what did you have? I had a psychedelic experience. Actually, it could better be described as a spiritual experience.
yeah, yeah. And if you've had another experience and it was so real that you had no shadow of a doubt that it really happened, you try and tell that to another crowd of breakfast tacos or the atheist groups, and they'll shoot you down. They'll shoot
Oh,
you.
yeah.
They'll be so close-minded.
Oh, yeah. And the only thing when they try to do that, they think they're shooting you down, but they're not shooting me down. They're exhibiting their trauma. They're
Yeah,
showing me just how demoralized they've become to a
yeah,
point where it's like the old saying I used to tell Jake, and he liked it. I said, look, you can't fix yourself by breaking somebody else. And
mm,
that's what those guys do. They try to break somebody else because they're so broken. And they don't realize you can break as many people as you want. And you'll never fix yourself that way. It doesn't work like that. You're just becoming the worst thing that you could ever be. You're broken. And now you're going to go around and try to break other people. That's horrible. And that's what we see. Matter of fact, colleges and universities are built to do just that. And people come out of it, saying, hey, they got to write on the thing that evolution's a fact, and to get to pass the class. And yeah,
Mhm.
it's not a good thing, man. It creates, I think it creates more immorality in the world. And then the debate comes up, where does the morality come from? And goes further. And I think, honestly, we know what's right and wrong. I
Well,
mean,
but it's different though too, though. I mean, we're
yeah,
not
you
all
had
the.
a good point with the cereal and all of that. Like they could think, okay, or a sadist, they might want to be abused and
How
say,
about a dating
well,
coach? How about a dating coach lying to men to take their money?
yeah,
It's a
yep,
con man, or you know what I'm saying? It's
hmm,
there's some people who think stealing from others is a legit way of earning a living.
some do, until it's done to them.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, see, that's when you know that they know it's wrong, because it's like, okay, so that's what you think they want. And then when it's done to them, now it becomes a problem. It's like, oh, so you're a hypocrite the whole time.
Yeah,
You know that that's not the right way to live. And but yet people do that under the disguise.
but
Yeah.
it's an important issue because it's a part of our reality. And what I
Hmm.
mean by that is you got to watch who you put your trust in, because those you put your trust in the wrong type of person, they'll
Oh,
destroy you.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. And even it could be somebody claiming to be religious or whatever. We see it. It happens
Of course.
over and over. Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what makes sense or buts about that. Yeah, I don't think I don't. Somebody says they're a born again Christian, great, but I got to know who the person is. That
Hmm.
doesn't, you know, protect. Change my opinion on the person. I have to know who the person is. No different
Yeah.
than I have to know who the person is. I'm not gonna say, "Oh, you're an atheist. You're a bad person." No, I don't think it's irrelevant to the topic.
Yeah. Yeah. The born agains, and like people that like the converts to Islam and stuff, it raises a red flag. It really does. You start to see, like, again, like, if you're going to take anybody, then you're going to get a high instance of people that aren't genuine.
Hmm. Yeah, just like when we talked about race and racism and different groups of people. Well, it all comes down to the individual. That's reality. That's
Yeah,
not being a good person or a bad person. That's called living in reality. That people are individuals. That's what they are.
exactly.
Yeah, they're not a
Exactly.
monolith. Come on.
Yeah. If we really go into human origins, to where we might have come from, when I start to release the papers, I was working on it today. Hopefully, I mean, the streams have been it's definitely been hindering it to a point, but I'd like to stream every day as much as I could. I think Scribe might stream tomorrow, so that'll give me a little bit
You
of a
going to be
break.
on the other
No, no,
platform?
he'll probably stay on this, because we were talking and I said, it's always better to concentrate your forces. Like, if we're going to do something,
Hmm.
we should do it and put our full effort into it, instead of, you don't want to spread yourself too thin. And he agreed. He was like, yeah, because the other stuff is like, you're getting guys that are just, some guys are cool, but the majority are not.
Hmm.
And we already saw, even when, like when the guy came over here, he's just disagreeing to disagree. And
Yeah.
it kind of gets to the point where it's like, yeah, this is what it breeds. And hopefully guys will start to veer more toward the knowledge. They might say, you know what? Yeah, I like to learn. Learning is good.
Well, I encourage you to do collaboration. I really do. And I'm no expert, but at the same time, I think that's the key. That's the key because it's a different crowd. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Hmm.
different crowd than what the other channel was. Um, yeah, if we could do more collaboration with other like-minded people, I think that would really take off. I think that's the key. But it's a new crowd. The information, the knowledge. It's a new crowd of people.
It's hard to find them. That's the thing. It's very hard to find people that will come on the show, that will collaborate and have that broad band. Like, we've had pretty cool guys come on the show, but they're not having a conversation like you and I are having.
Yeah.
It's more about what their thing is. Like the guy that came on with the Tesla Cabbage Patch thing, really nice guy. but basically that was the extent to where, I understand, okay, that's what he's writing about, but it'd be nice to talk about other stuff. And then he did openly say he believes about, the reset and stuff like that, and Tartaria. And so it's like, okay, so wouldn't there be other stuff beside Tartaria? And I think when I brought up the guy that he had on, the allegedly Dave guy,
Hmm.
I think I noticed at that point, he was like, he's got to go. And I was like, okay, great. Thank you for being, doing the interview with me. Um, because the whole flat thing came up, and he didn't tell him. He answered it well. He goes, well, he didn't say no, because he knows that when you say that, the flat, they prejudge you right away. Um, he said, I don't believe, we're spinning. Now, me personally, I'm like, look, we should try to build a model of it. The problem with uh, scientists having you build a model is you have to build it, and you have to put certain parameters. You got to say, okay, we got to enclose this artificially. So it kind of shows us that, okay, if it's a ball spinning, which it most likely is, that it's an artificially created environment, because that doesn't seem that it's going to happen by what they're saying. They might say, okay, gravity pulls it. Okay, great. That's a theory too, but a very good one, just like the electron. The electron is a theory,
Hmm.
so, but it's a very persistent one, like Richard Feynman said. It with the Earth thing, it's saying, yeah, there's something that seems to hold stuff in place, and I don't think gravity can account for it all. I don't think the flat is right with saying, oh, it's just density and buoyancy. That doesn't account for it all as well. See,
Right.
they fall into the same thing that the orthodox thing is trying to tell us. Oh, gravity accounts for everything. It's like, well, it probably accounts for most, but not everything. The fact that you can manipulate gravity with electricity and magnetism and stuff, like we see that you can sound can levitate stuff. They have the laboratory experiments, anybody can watch them. They're
Hmm.
levitating balls of water with sound, little droplets. So sound can affect gravity. Size affects gravity. So we see this with insects and stuff, how certain animals, no matter whatever height they drop from, they're going to float, hit the ground in a non-lethal way, insects in particular. So there's so much. This is the scientific method to say, look, let's study this. And they're like, no, 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 you got to believe what I'm saying. And it's like, well, that, in other words, that then it goes back to religion.
Yeah, and I guess Scribe gave it away last time about the flat Earth. They're not approaching it from a scientific point of view.
Yeah,
That's
it's cultish. It's very cultish,
a religion. Is
and
what it
yeah, and
is.
I have to admit, even the people who do the fake Professor Dave,
Hmm.
they're cultish too, because they're saying, oh no, everything the state and the academia says is correct, and it's like, wow. I
Yeah,
mean, really, really gatekeepers to the
and I
point
understand
where, yeah.
paid. I understand that completely. If you're getting paid a lot of money to teach evolution in a major university,
Hmm.
I understand that. But it's the zombies that should scare you because they have no financial gain in it. They're just they just
Hmm.
whatever they're
Yeah.
told.
I stopped by a show yesterday before we live streamed. I don't even remember the name, but uh oh, it was something simulation. So it was about like simulation, right? So
Hmm.
I didn't even go, I didn't have the link to get on the show. So I'm in the chat. Not many people are watching, maybe 8 or 9 people. And I say something about evolution. And they automatically like, well, it kind of, and I was like, well, prove it to me. And I saw the discomfort. Now, these are people that are talking about existence being a simulation,
Yeah.
which part of it could be. It could be explained, maybe, maybe not. But the fact that they didn't even want, that they couldn't openly just say, "Oh yeah, evolution doesn't make," it's like we're talking about simulation stuff here, so that goes beyond I would think it goes beyond the basic evolutionary model.
Hmm.
But they were so indoctrinated. Oh, well, things do evolve. And I said, that's called adaptation. And then now you start to see, like the body language, like it's like, because they were both on camera, it's a man and a woman. And I'm like, wow, wow. The zombification is everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Zombification.
what's the consequences of this zombification? You live outside reality. There's consequences to doing that. To
Yeah.
walk the earth and not knowing what's really going on, there's some serious consequences.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it really is. It's kind of like you lose yourself
Hmm.
because, you lie to a friend, you lose the friend. You lie to yourself, you lose yourself. And we're seeing these people constantly. I mean, when I look at the guy from the NASA and he says, "Oh, he would go to the moon in a minute," and I'm looking at it like, wow, this guy is out to lunch. I mean, the lights are on, but nobody's home.
Sure.
He just out there, and he seems like a nice guy. What I see is trauma. I see trauma. He's so afraid of reality that they gotta say that they know everything. They're so afraid of the unknown. Like you were saying with Breakfast Taco, the fact that they act like they know everything. It's like, so how life started, how it developed, everything you got an answer for. That's not good. That's definitely not good. That's not accurate. It's not truthful. Yeah, it's not truthful. Medi said, "Good point, Mr. X." Thanks, Medi.
And look
Yeah,
at brought up a couple streams ago. I just Googled it because I can't remember the name, but Ota Benga, that guy in the
yeah.
Bronx Zoo who they put in with the monkeys and the
Hmm. Yeah, I
oh,
think I mentioned him on the stream too. Yeah.
September 19 where what year was that? Was that 1906 they did that? I think it was. Oh
I,
six
I
monkeys.
think it was early 1900s.
Yeah, chimpanzees highlighting deeply racist period in American history.
Oh, it was
So see the
horrible.
consequences of evolution and believing in that we came from apes. They put a human being to
Hmm.
put somebody like that and other people to think that's perfectly normal. That
Oh,
shows you how deep, how badly it shouldn't be taken lightly at all.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. That was so sad.
Yeah.
It just I think the cage. Okay, so it says here 1883 to 1916. So I think the cage still exists in the Bronx Zoo.
Really.
Yeah, I think it's still there because I remember hearing a while ago. Um it just, yeah, and I think he was Congolese, the caged Congolese teen. And it says 1904. Otabenga was kidnapped from what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo in
Hmm.
1904 and taken kidnapped. And after they took him, he couldn't assimilate back into the tribe.
Oh,
No, matter of fact, when they brought him back, the whole tribe was gone. They were annihilated.
yeah.
I mean, you're looking at some horrible, horrible. And then
But
they put him in the cage with the monkey to try to say that, oh, you see, they're very close to each other.
exactly. But
I
imagine if
mean,
we went through that. If we were put in a cage
oh,
with monkeys, we
he
would
ended
come.
up ending himself.
We'd had mental breakdown a long time ago. We
Yep.
wouldn't be able to
He-
function normally ever again.
And it says here, yeah, he was in the United States. So he was in the zoo from 9 September 1906, a day after Otabenga was first exhibited, until he was released from the zoo on 28 September. So he was in the zoo for almost 20 days in a cage,
Look at
basically.
that with
That's
wild animals.
horrible.
Yeah.
That's like some horrible, and they try to say, oh, and they try to say, oh, but he was a zoo employee. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my, I mean, the fact that they captured him, killed off his tribe, and it just and they said he became depressed and ended himself
Sure, I
with
believe
the
it.
gun he hidden. Yeah, and
I
he
know
was.
he did do it, but I mean, yeah, I can easily see if I was put in a cage with a bunch
Oh
of wild
man,
animals for 20 days. I don't know where I'd be. I'd probably be in a mental institution. You know, it's but you see, these people who want they won't even look at all the detriment evolution is. Detriments are probably the weak word to use, but all the evil and all the atrocities evolution has caused humanity. They won't even look at that part.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's horrible, man. When you think about it, it's really horrible that and all of that was to push the lie of evolution, the
Yeah.
religion. I mean, that's so horrible. And none of these guys, uh they'll make excuses. And it's the same thing like if anybody looks at the statue of Lincoln freeing the slaves, it's horrible. The guy is like on one knee, like if he's a freed animal. And Lincoln's got his hand over his head. I mean, you're
Yeah.
talking about some horrible imagery.
Sure.
Horrible imagery. It just and to think he did, they say he ended himself, and New York Times tried to say, oh, it was an exhibition. It's like, come on, man. New York Times is known for, we already know, just like Time magazine,
Hmm.
who they put on the cover, Hitler or something for, you
Yeah.
know,
Man.
it's like, yeah, that should tell you everything right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, people, they have, the Men in Black neuralizer, they forget. I mean, you see it with the election stuff. It's like, wow.
Hmm.
It just, yeah, it
But
really,
imagine not
yeah.
just the people who put him in the zoo, but the spectators who came to see it and didn't think anything was wrong.
Oh yeah, this is a thing too. They put a little girl, let me see, a little girl in Belgium Zoo in 1940 to 50, I think.
1940s.
Yeah, this was a little girl in Belgium Zoo, the human zoo of Tervuren. This was in Brussels in 1897. I mean, they got pictures of this. It's horrible, bro. A picture of a black child as a zoo attraction in Belgium. It was a little black girl, and they were feeding her like oranges, and she's peeling. They have like a bamboo gate. I mean, when you look at these things, I understand why it's like there's no such thing as Western civilization.
Hmm.
It's a farce. It just, and it's not to say, and I mean, I'm a Western person. We're all Western, because we're modern basically. But when we look at what some of the people that created this type of system, it's inhumane.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture right now, 1958, actually.
Yeah, and
Brussels
she's,
World Fair.
yep,
I
and
thought
she's,
this happened like early 20th century, but 1958, you got to be kidding me.
yeah,
You
and
know?
and this is people that think that they're girl in Brussels. This is people here. I'll show the picture here. I mean, this is horrible. This is horrible, man. Anybody can look it up though. But
Well,
yeah,
I'm looking at it right now, but I'm just shocked to see 1958 for crying out loud.
right?
Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? This is
Yeah. So
not
the
too far
picture
off when I
from
was born. You know what I mean?
is the pictures from 58 or from 1897?
It says an African girl was exhibited in a human zoo in Brussels, Belgium in 1958. The
Holy
exhibition
smoke!
happened at the Brussels World's Fair, where a Congolese village was displayed with the intention of proving Belgium's claim to have the civilized the primitive Africans. Belgium's that they civilized the Africans.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that
1950.
one is horrible, man. A little girl, and they're feeding her like oranges or something.
Yeah,
She's
that's what they show here. They
Yeah,
show.
it's just it's horrible. And you know, 58, so I think Rod Serling made let me see, people are like all over, right?
Mhm.
So people are like all over was produced Let me see the year 1960. So Rod Serling, and he did this to show how barbaric it was. So in the Twilight Zone episode, People Are Alike All Over, with I think Roddy McDowell, that guy who played in Fright Night.
Hmm.
Um, they go to Mars, and all the people on Mars are like, the majority are blonde hair, blue eyed, in these robes like the Greeks, right? So the three of them, I think two guys got injured in the crash or something like that, and one survived. And they built a house for McDowell. They say, "Oh, this is the type of house you lived in on Earth," and he goes, "Yeah, this is exactly the same." And they put him in it, and then he sees everybody outside when he looks out the window looking at the house. And then they show you from the other vantage point that it has a sign, Earth creature in his in natural habitat.
Wow. Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, and it was called People Are Alike All Over. And it was kind of mocking what they did to this young girl in Belgium. I mean, that's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Just to look at those pictures and to say, well, New York did it, almost half a century earlier. But basically, yeah, more than half a century, 1906, right?
Yeah,
So,
1906, which I'm not excusing it,
yeah,
but 1958, come on, there's no excuse there. There's no excuse for that one. I mean,
yeah, yeah. It shows really who, like, yeah, Mehdi said it. We are the barbarians. Yeah, exactly. It shows. It's like us in particular or not, because we're the people that are speaking out against it. To say, wait a minute, are you crazy? It's like, why would you do that? Oh, the theory of evolution. That's why you would do that.
yeah.
So everybody that adheres to that theory is support, that's the support of it mentally and
Yes.
physically. I mean, the World's Fair I heard was just as bad. Like they had like whole, like, little villages in parts of the World Fair. It's crazy. Like I think it was the early 1900s, the World's Fair, like maybe the 20s or the 30s, and then they had another one I think in the 50s or the 60s. And brutal. Yeah, it was brutal. I think the second one was in Queens, New York. But it might have been in the 50s. And then the first one, they gathered different types of people from around the world to display them. I mean, this is like, it really makes me wonder what's behind the scene pushing humans into this. Yeah,
And the
really,
zombies eat it up. The
yeah,
zombies eat it up. They think it's a show.
they do.
Yeah.
They definitely do, man. But yeah, man, I appreciate you being here. It was a good show, man. This was, we got to talk about some deep stuff. I'm very open. Like some people, I've had people prejudge me on, oh, well, you did this and that. And it's like, I explored my consciousness,
Yeah.
and I would do it in the future. Like now everybody's growing those hybrid type mushrooms. I'm not trying to mess with that. If it was the more natural type, which I probably will never encounter, who knows? I'm not trying to do nothing like the ayahuasca or lick the back of a toad or something. I had a friend that actually
Oh,
did
sure.
that.
I wouldn't do that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. He told me, other galaxies and stuff. I said, nah, I'm okay, man. So I look at it as, you just need the experience showed me I don't really, there's not much more. Yeah, it'd be fun, whatever, but it's kind of like I got the message already.
Yeah.
I got the message, and the other time, not every time was like spectacular. It wasn't bad, but it was like not as memorable as that one time. And then it was really think about it. I guess stuff will come back, and I'll be like, wow. I remember times, yeah, like some of it. See, the thing is with the mush, you get a feeling around the body. So it's a physical and a mental. Some of them are more physical, some of them are more mental. But when you think about a plant that's altering your mind in that way, it's amazing. It's just,
It is.
it's like, how?
It
And
is.
yeah, I think Hancock has done the ayahuasca like 30 times or something, like definitely a lot. He said that, one of the things with that is when you take it, people say you have to vomit or you have to, go to the bathroom. And he said, I think he was like behind a tree, he got diarrhea or something like that. And, he just, he said he had a teaching, it taught him. He eventually he was feeling like a mother goddess type snake or something like that. I think he had described it hugging him. And he, Graham Hancock said he used to use a lot of cannabis. He used to smoke a lot of cannabis when he would write his books. And he said that he had a vision, like it told him that he needs to like chill out on it. He's abusing it kind of. And I think that's what had him back off on it. But I guess when he comes to the States, he engages, whatever.
I don't know. I mean, I know I sound like a lame, but I think that spiritual realm needs to be left alone.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know I sound like a lame. I understand, and it's exciting, and I love excitement too. But I don't know. It's playing with fire too, in a way, because
Yeah, if you're not prepared, yeah.
But imagine seeing that all the time. It no longer becomes a trip.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's abuse at that point. Yeah, that's abuse. I mean,
Or
that's why.
your brain, something happens to your brain where you don't get out of the trip, or there's a trip is also partially with you, because that's what happens to schizophrenics. They'll be watching TV, and all of a sudden the person on the television will be talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean, you
yeah.
can't in real life. You know what I mean? You see what happens to the schizophrenics
Oh yeah,
all
oh
over
yeah.
New York streets.
Too much, yeah. Too much is everything in moderation. I don't think it's kind of like watching a movie and you get the message. You don't need to watch it again. You might see it a few times and say, "Wow, I saw something in it when I watched it again that I didn't catch the first time." But there's only so many times that you need to watch it.
Yeah.
Then you can remember it, whatever. And that's the same thing with these things. I mean, they're teacher plants in a way where uh, you get the message, you get the healing, and then that's it. Maybe, I don't know, 10, 20 years or something later, you might want to, but really you don't really need to. I mean,
But I agree
yeah.
100%, though.
What was
Like, you
saying?
have to be in the right place.
Yeah,
You can't
definitely.
be a bad person,
Yeah.
but for different reasons, in a way, because I think there's protectors around you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have to admit that certain types of trips like that, yeah, for some people, like somebody had said in the chat earlier, the ibogaine, and I heard I heard that people get gotten claim to have gotten cured from their heroin addiction by taking ibogaine.
Sure.
Like they had such a life altering trip that they looked into themselves, and it showed them that they had no need to be doing this other drug anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that go to Africa to have that trip. I don't know if they have it over here, but many have. Graham Hancock actually, I think, had witnessed somebody on that. And yeah, it makes you wonder, like, wow, so this thing can cure people from addictions that nothing in the Western world claims to cure. Funny enough, they'll say give you methadone, which
Yeah.
people, it makes it worse or something like that. That I think that's what Hitler, they said, gave the troops. So
Heroin, didn't he?
yeah, they're methed out because who was it? The French or some of the opposition said that these guys were running 24 hours. And tweaked out, driving a tank, methed out.
Mm-hmm.
And the Americans, I think, took note of that years later in Vietnam, and that's when they pushed the heroin all over. So you got guys on heroin fighting in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, horrible stuff when I think about it. It's like something is manipulating from behind the scenes. That happening, like we know, they got the red nighttime vision. They're seeing these entities when they look through the thing. Like if they're coming there, the heart, some type of energy off the death.
Yes.
It's just.
I definitely think if you're surrounded by death, they're there. It's feed off of that reason.
Yeah. I have to
do sacrifice.
Yeah, no, and Mehdi, I appreciate that. Mehdi says do it with guys like us and understand who understand why I would want to experience it. Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the thermal. I don't know if it was, no, it wasn't thermal imaging. They actually have some videos on it of it was night vision, the green night vision, but used with red lenses. So it was different from the thermal vision because you're not going to see like the heat footprints and stuff. But they claim to be seeing other entities, basically flying entities, like almost, demonic with the wings, following or riding in unison with the helicopter squadron to go attack the Viet Cong. And it just, you look at that like, whoa, this is some this, and they say that there's a type of glasses that they used from a blue lens, uh not cyanide, but uh I forgot the name. It was something like that, like canide or something. Oh, I can't remember right off the top of my head, but it was some type of lens that they're saying could see like some type of spirit form type of thing. And so you look at so many different things that we can create right now to see at night, to see the footprints, the heat footprints left behind, to see ultraviolet spectrums, infrared spectrums. There has to be ways to possibly detect other things,
Hmm.
type of spirit vision.
And it makes you wonder too. These wars, like the Vietnam War, what if it's just a giant sacrifice? It's
Yes.
not really about communism or the whole communism thing. It's all made up. It's to promote war.
Yeah, for
But
sacrifice. It's yeah, sacrifice, and then these things are there to collect their food or
their
something from it.
energy, the human body. Because what is it, like over 2 or 3 million Vietnamese died in that war?
I think 4 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. 4 million of them, and about 60, 70,000 U.S. troops, and
Mhm.
then another 60, 70,000 end themselves when they come home. So it's like, I mean, just to think of that. So all those guys got ended in Vietnam, and the same amount, well, more. They're saying more of the guys ended themselves, maybe even as high as 100,000 when they came back. That's crazy.
Yeah.
How many?
Sometimes these wars just don't make any sense. Why are we fighting? Why are we killing all, and maybe it's a religious aspect of it. Maybe they're feeding the entities. Who knows? That's what gives them their power and their wealth. Because we know who calls the shots. It's not the people. It's a small group of society that calls all the shots.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's definitely. I typed it in, and they try to lower the number now. It used to be higher. They really, I mean, the information, the unverified claims, and this is like, again, this is like when they date something and they say, oh, it's either 1,000 or 1,500 years. It's like, come on, man. It's like, how wide of a gap is that? It's like
Mhm.
they really don't know. It's saying here the unverified claims are between 50,000 to 150,000 endings, self deletions.
Mhm.
But they're saying, oh, but it lacks scientific evidence. What, like the scientific evidence they use to promote evolution? It's like, come on,
Yeah.
you know. And they're saying that officially they're trying to say 22,000, but yeah, it seems JAMA, I think that's the Journal of Alternative Medicine, JAMA, a large 2023 study identified 94,000 among all Vietnam War veterans. Uh, so that would be more than, because I think 60,000 was ended over there. Yeah, this is, and they're saying some of them deployed to the theater and those who served during the era but were not deployed. So even guys that weren't deployed might have ended. Wow, that's brutal, man. It's
Hmm.
messed up because you got guys every day and nobody really, it's not a big thing to them. It just they're saying from 1979 to 2019. Wow, that's a long stretch there.
Yeah.
Mental health and stuff. But yeah, hopefully you know, hopefully the other guys that are still out have found peace. I met many guys in there that were in Vietnam, and it just I could see, yeah, I could see the trauma.
Of course,
Um,
not
but yeah,
normal. Not a normal thing to go through in life, you know.
yeah, yeah, it's not, man. It's really. I remember there was this one Sergeant Lopez. I asked him. I said, "What did you do in the war, Sarge?" He said that he was the helicopter gunner,
Wow.
so he was gunning through everything. And he was a Puerto Rican guy, really cool. He was a staff sergeant when I met him, and really cool guy. But he would eat breakfast alone. Like I went over, sat with him, and I started seeing like, wow, this poor guy is in turmoil. He's in the military. There's no place else for him,
Hmm.
and he just. I asked him. I said, well, what did you see? It was the worst thing you see. I mean, we're in uniform, so it's no biggie. And he said, well, one time there was a new lieutenant and they had put punji sticks in the river. So that means, they dip them in excrement, put it in the river. So if you get stuck, you get infected, you die. And he goes, this cherry lieutenant, when they ambushed them from the land, told everybody to jump in the river. He said, everybody jumped in the river, everybody, ended themselves without knowing. And he goes, the whole platoon, everybody gone. And he goes, yeah, man. He goes, he would just be firing the machine gun on on everybody basically that wasn't American. He said it would go through everything, men, women, children, all of that, just to get to the Viet Cong. I was like, wow. I mean, so this guy is affected on a level that um I remember he was be like, it's a good day to be in the army, It's like, wow. It's like, holy smokes.
Hmm.
Yeah, just a
Can't be
lot of
after
yeah,
something like that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. You think it's sad what that guy has to go through for life.
Yeah.
It's like his whole life. I remember there was another guy that came into martial arts school in the 90s, and he was in Vietnam, and he talked about like murking entire families. He goes, he like those families that live in the houses that are on stilts in the water type of stuff. He was sneaking up in the water, and he's like, yeah. And I could see he was mentally, he was out there, and it was sad. He was like a black guy with glasses, um, and he wanted to come train and everything. And we were sitting there as like at the end of the class, and I'm like, man, I don't think I think this guy's just roaming in society. It's like he's lost. I mean, the stuff he did, one day he might just break down. I mean, you don't. I mean, you do something like that. It's like, how do I even talk to the guy?
Of course.
He's off families, and not. It's like I didn't even want to get into like, so what was it? The teenagers or little kids and the mother, father. It's like, what type of? I mean, this is crazy. War. You know, I think it was Mash that said it best. There was a line from he told the father. He goes hey father, is there any innocent people in hell? And the father said, no, there's no innocent people in hell. Everybody that goes to hell is went there because they deserve it. He goes, so war has to be worse than hell. He said, because you see all these innocent people getting killed in war. People
Hmm.
that didn't do nothing. And they stopped and they thought about that. So, yeah, again, like common sense. Whatever they try to build up as hell is not as bad as war because there's no innocent people going there, but there's innocent people going away every war, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you being here for the show. I'm gonna get ready to sleep. It's almost
Yeah.
2, and yeah, I'll see if Scribe's gonna do tomorrow, and then we'll see how long we can keep it going.
But
And
great conversation. Got me thinking, got me learning. So I appreciate this.
yeah, man, I appreciate you too, man. It's always a good conversation. Everybody in the chat, man, thank you guys so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank all of you. You guys have a great night. Take care, and we'll talk soon.
Take care.